I am the Whistler, and I know many things, for I walk by night. I know many strange tales hidden in the hearts of men and women who have stepped into the shadows. Yes, I know the nameless terrors of which they dare not speak.
And now, for the Signal Oil Company, the Whistler's strange story. Letter from Cynthia.
To the holiday staff on duty at the small hospital on the outskirts of a small town on the coast of Southern California, Christmas night was much like any other night. Not quite, of course, for the spirit of the season was in the air. A tree austerely but beautifully decorated in a motif of silver and white stood majestically alone in the center of the reception lobby. The attractive receptionist at the desk, who doubled on the switchboard at night, glanced eagerly at a dozen festively wrapped packages and presents left for her earlier in the day by various members of the staff. From the church across the street, the soft melody of a Christmas carol floated through the open window on the far side. The sound of footsteps descending the stairs on the right caused the girl to glance up as one of the newer doctors who was serving his internship strolled casually to the desk.
Thought I'd come down for a little breather. Kind of slow tonight, Patty.
Is that bad for Christmas night? What do you want from Santa Claus anyway, Dr. Andrews? A couple of emergency appendectomies?
No, I didn't mean that. I just meant it's kind of...
Oh, sure, I know. And it suits me fine. I got 2 hours sleep today and 8 hours in front of me here at this desk.
Oh, that's bad, Pat. You'll never see your grandchildren if you keep that up.
People were dropping in all day long. You know how it is Christmas Day.
Good night, Patty. Hope you had a nice Christmas.
Oh, I did, Dr. Peters. Thanks for the nice presents.
You're welcome.
Good night, Doc.
Good night, Neil.
Yeah, Patty, it's like I said. A gal like you needs 8 hours sleep a day.
Did you get 8 hours sleep today, Doctor?
10.
You would. You know, you're an odd man, Dr. Andrews.
Odd? Well, how do you mean?
I mean, I don't know. You act like there's something bothering you. Like there's something on your mind all the time.
Oh, maybe there is.
Well, everybody has things on their mind. You could still go out and dance, have fun, like the other doctors do. The single ones, I mean.
Too busy. I'm still an intern, you know.
Make it sound like a sentence. Yes? Outside line? Yes, sir. Oh, here, Doctor, I almost forgot. Maybe this pretty pink envelope will change your viewpoint.
A letter. When did this come?
I don't know. I just came on duty 10 minutes ago. Why don't you open it? What? Dr. Andrews, your hands are trembling. I believe your viewpoint's changed already.
Yes, Neil, your hands are trembling as you recognize the handwriting. Read the return address on the envelope. The address of lovely Cynthia Walker. She's out of your life now, isn't she, Neil? No. She'll never be out of your life, will she? You're just out of hers. You walk across the lobby, choose a chair near a light, and stare into space for a moment. The memory of that last moment with Cynthia crowding every other thought from your mind. It isn't pleasant to recall, is it, Neil? The unfortunate accident that cost you your reputation, your position, and the love of Cynthia Walker at the very beginning of your career as an intern in an important hospital. You remember Cynthia's thoughtless, angry words that followed. Yes, looking back to that day more than a year ago, it's hard to believe now that a few hours could have made so much difference in your future. But they did. And as you try to read the words on the scrap of paper, Cynthia's letter in your hand, you know that one man is responsible for it all. Charles Arthur Bennett, the man who lied when the truth would have cleared you. Charles Arthur Bennett, the man who called himself your best friend. The sound of an ambulance wheeling into the receiving room below shatters your train of thought. Across the room, a yellow light flashes on the switchboard. You turn quickly back to the letter, but your thoughts are blurred and You know you won't have
No,
time to
Stevens
finish your
is
letter
busy.
before you get the call you're sure is coming.
Yes, doctor. Yes, doctor. Yes. I'll make out the registration card right away. Dr. Andrews?
Yes? Yes, Pat? Admitting room?
No, Miss Stevens is busy. 412 has had a relapse.
Oh.
They're taking the emergency to the 3rd floor. Dr. Graham wants you to go to the 3rd floor drug room.
What kind of accident?
Car crash, traumatic and hemotractic shock.
Uh-huh.
Patient very weak. Dr. Graham wants you to prepare injections of sereptamine and saccharin. Take them to the operating room, 3rd floor.
Right. I was afraid we might have one of these before the day was over. You get any details?
No, only it was an automobile accident. The man's unconscious, but according to the identification card in his wallet, his name is Charles Bennett, salesman.
Who did you say?
Bennett. Charles Arthur Bennett, Los Angeles.
Yes, Neil, it's a shock, isn't it, to realize what's happened. For more than a year, your resentment of Charlie Bennett has smoldered. And now the girl at the switchboard tells you that he's here in the hospital where you're now interning, the victim of an automobile accident. That you have to prepare the drugs that might save his life. Might save his life. As you hurry up the stairs along the hallway to the laboratory, your thoughts go back to that night more than a year ago. The circumstances were quite different then, weren't they, Neil? Because although you didn't then realize it, that night you were at the mercy of Charlie Bennett. The night which began at a birthday party for Charlie Bennett more than a year ago at the home of a mutual friend. But as far as you were concerned, there were just the three of you. Cynthia, Charlie, your best friend, and you. Yes, Neil, things were much different then.
Oh, it's a wonderful party. I wish I didn't have to leave right in the middle of it.
Well, if you must, you must. I'll drive you home.
No, darling, I've already phoned for a taxi. Now, this is the first time you've been off duty from the hospital in a long time. I want you to stay here and relax and have fun.
Okay, but I might get into trouble, you know.
I trust you. You're a big boy now. Or I wouldn't have told you I'd marry you.
Have you told Charlie?
No, not yet. I'll tell him tomorrow. I don't want to seem conceited, but, well, telling him tonight that I'm going to marry you, it just might spoil his birthday party.
Yes, it would.
By the way, where is Charlie?
Oh, he's around. Over in the corner, I think. That island completely surrounded by the ocean of blondes.
Well, I wouldn't think of invading that territory. Just to tell him good night. You tell him for me, will you, Neil?
Sure. You really have to go.
Oh, I'm afraid so. Jane's only in town for the night, and I don't get to see my sister very often. My taxi ought to be here by now. Now, it's your night off, dear. You have fun. You interns don't get out of that hospital often enough. And besides, the champagne is wonderful.
Anything you say, darling.
Reluctantly, you see Cynthia to a cab and come back to the birthday party for Charlie. You take Cynthia's advice, too. Enjoy a little champagne. Make party talk with other friends, and you do have a good time, Neil. You relax for the first time in weeks. In another hour or two, most of the crowd is gone, and finally, you even convince Charlie that it's time to go home. And in the lobby going out.
Why don't you leave your car here, Charlie, and go home in style, like I am?
What do you mean, in style?
Leave your car here. Get a taxi.
Hey, what's the idea? I can drive. Oh, don't tell me the good doctor's in his cups from a little
Oh,
champagne.
no, not really, but I just don't want to do any driving, that's all.
Well, you don't have to do any. A little bit of champagne didn't bother me. Look, tell you what. We live close to each other. We'll use your car, and I'll pick mine up tomorrow.
I'd sure rather take a taxi.
Oh, aren't any taxis around anyway?
There's a stand about 3 blocks away.
Not at night, Neil. Oh, besides, you'll need your car to get to the hospital in the morning. Come on, Neil, boy. I'm okay.
All right, if you're sure. Let's go. But take it easy now.
Once in the car, you make one more effort to talk Charlie out of driving, but to no avail. You're getting a little weary of the slight argument, so you let him drive your car. And after the first few blocks, you decide you have nothing to worry about. Charlie seems to be driving satisfactorily. Slightly over the speed limit, but everything seems to be all right until he suddenly turns a corner sharply. That's the last you remember for a little while. When you open your eyes, you feel a dizziness, a dull pain at your temple, and someone's talking somewhere.
Come on, fella. That's it. Come on, boy. Come on. Here. Are you hurt?
Hurt? Oh, no, no, officer.
Not much, I guess. Just a bump on the head. Hey, that lamppost made quite an impression on your car, though. What's the idea of driving like that?
Oh, me? Charlie was driving.
Oh, Charlie was driving.
Yeah, he's gone.
He sure is absent. Say, you're a little on the woozy side, friend.
Charlie, where's Charlie?
Hey, come on, chum. That's enough about Charlie. Now, how much have you had to drink, anyway?
I haven't had much to drink. Look here, officer. Charlie was here. I know he was here.
No one was here, chum. I heard the crash around the corner and came straight here. No Charlie, no nobody. Just you. And the little man who wasn't here.
But he couldn't have gone. Charlie!
Yeah, that's all, chum. We got a swell place downtown where you can sleep on it, huh?
It's like a nightmare, isn't it, Neil? You're bewildered and confused by what's happened. It's all a mistake, isn't it? A horrible mistake. And Charlie will show up soon and explain everything. Then you're booked at police headquarters and spend the rest of the night pacing back and forth in jail. Finally, in the early morning, someone is there to put up your bail.
Hello, Cynthia.
Hello, Neil. I came as quickly as I could.
Thanks. Thanks for, springing me.
Come along, Neil. I'll drive you home.
How did you find out I was here?
The whole story is in the morning papers. And it mentions your connection with the hospital, too.
I suppose so.
Dr. Rogers called me about it. He was quite concerned.
Well, he needn't have been. We'll get this whole thing cleared up in no time. No time at all.
Oh, I hope so, Neil.
Sure. As soon as I see Charlie Bennett.
Charlie?
Yeah, you'll tell him what really happened. He was driving the car. It was all his fault. I was just... What's the matter, Cynthia? Why are you looking at me like that?
Well, I've already talked with Charlie.
Well, he told you then how it really happened.
Charlie said he wasn't with you last night when it happened. He took a cab. He went home alone.
It leaves you stunned, doesn't it, Neil? You're certain there must be some mistake. But once Charlie understands how much it means to you, he'll realize what's happened and tell the truth. It's too late to prevent the unfavorable publicity for the hospital, but at least you could be cleared in Dr. Rogers' eyes and in Cynthia's. You see Cynthia safely home and then take a taxi directly to Charlie's apartment. He isn't there, but the desk clerk lets you in and you settle down to wait and to think. Nearly 2 hours later, a key sounds in the door.
Neil. Hiya, pal. Why didn't you tell me you were coming? I would have waited.
I didn't plan on it. The desk clerk let me in. You talked to Cynthia on the phone this morning, didn't you, Charlie?
Cynthia? Yeah, crack of dawn, naturally. She was worried about you.
Naturally. And what did you tell her?
Oh, that's what's worrying you, huh? Well, I didn't really mean to do it, Neil, but I had to. Want a drink?
No.
Mind if I have one?
Look, Charlie, I'm trying to give you a chance to explain.
Okay. No reason to get sore.
You lied to Cynthia. Why?
Well, I told you I had to. You know, as a salesman, I have to drive a car to make a living,
What's
Neil.
that got to do with it?
Only everything, that's all. Look, Neil, I didn't bother to mention it to anyone, but I was in a scrape 3 weeks ago. I got hauled up for driving under the weather. I got off with a fine and a warning that time.
Wait a minute. You mean you deliberately let me take the rap for your accident last night?
Well, I tell you, I couldn't help it.
Do you know what a spot this has put me in? The hospital has a reputation they're pretty jealous of, you know.
Sure, and I've got a job.
And so have I. I think you'd better put down that drink and get your coat on, Charlie.
Why?
Because you're coming with me to explain to Dr. Rogers. Then we're going together to see Cynthia.
Oh, what good would that do? It's all over now, Neil.
You mean you're refusing?
I mean, I went home in a taxi last night alone. Told my story once, and I don't see anything to gain by changing it now.
Suddenly it occurs to you that Charlie has a more important reason for lying. His job is only part of it. He's always wanted to marry Cynthia, too, despite your long friendship. He believes that anything's fair in love or war. It's as simple as that. And with you out of the way, he's sure he'll have a clear field. And Cynthia, after all this, what about Cynthia, Neil? You have to be sure. Can you be sure of Cynthia now?
Neil, I just can't understand it.
You don't believe me, do you? But you do believe Charlie.
Why would he lie about a thing like this?
Because with me out of the way, he thinks he could marry you.
Neil, I've known Charlie for years. He wouldn't do a thing like that. Besides, he's your best friend.
Oh, yeah. He's proved that, hasn't he?
Neil, aren't you forgetting that Charlie wasn't found in the wreck? That you were? You all alone? Your story is, well, it's too fantastic. The police don't believe it. And Charlie says it couldn't have been that way.
And you, Cynthia? What do you say?
Oh, Neil, what can I say? Do you think I want to believe this? And Dr. Rogers, the hospital, what do they say?
Naturally, I resigned. I couldn't do anything else. I don't blame them for what they think, any of them. But I know I'm right, and... Never mind, Cynthia. Guess there's no use in going over all that again.
Neil, you're not going.
Well, why not? I don't seem to be getting anywhere.
What's going to happen, Neil? Well, do you think you'll be able to get an internship somewhere else?
I think so. I'm just as qualified as I ever was. My previous record was good, and I've learned a lot. Sorry this has been too much for you, Cynthia.
I haven't said
You wouldn't
that
consider marrying a man you didn't believe, would you?
I want to believe you, Neil. More than I ever wanted to believe anything.
Well, maybe you will someday. Maybe you'll learn the truth. When you do, let me know. You'll be able to find me.
Yes, it all happened more than a year ago, didn't it, Neil? You cut off all contacts with your friends in Los Angeles. You've often wondered if Cynthia ever married Charlie. And every time you've wondered, your hatred toward him has grown deeper. You've often thought of killing him, haven't you? Yes, often. And now on Christmas night, more than a year later, in a small, out-of-the-way hospital, fate places the life of Charlie Bennett squarely in your hands. The switchboard operator has told you that he's in the operating room unconscious, seriously injured in an auto accident. And you've been assigned to prepare the medication which will spell life or death for him. Just a little too much, or not quite enough. It's almost too easy, isn't it? Not the slightest suspicion will be attached to you. You smile as you enter the drug room and find another intern there.
What's the emergency, Neil?
Car wreck.
You assisting?
No, just preparing the sureptamine and saccharin shots.
Well, must have been a pretty bad accident.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. You ever stop to think about the power of these drugs? Just the right amount means almost certain recovery. And too much or too little, oblivion.
Do you always get this philosophical at Christmas?
No, but I guess this case made me think about it more than usual. You see, I know the guy.
Oh, friend?
You said it. What a friend.
Oh, kind of an unusual situation, isn't it?
A very unusual situation.
Well, Neil, the die is cast, isn't it? You've donned your sterile mask and gown and prepared the injection, carried them to the operating room, where you place them on the instrument tray, without even a glance at the masked, sheet-covered patient. You note Dr. Graham's nod of dismissal and quietly leave the operating room, where Charlie Bennett's chance for life or death lies squarely in your hands. You never dreamed you'd have such an opportunity, did you, Neil? After removing your mask and gown, you return to the hallway. Wait by a window near the operating room as the melody from the church again drifts in through the window. You wonder whether you're glad or sorry at what you've done. Then you remember the disgrace Charlie Bennett brought on you, your shattered hopes, the happiness you might have had with Cynthia. And you know the answer. Even if you could, you wouldn't change the situation in the slightest. You pause under a ceiling light and decide to finish Cynthia's letter.
And now, as another Christmas approaches, I realize how hasty I seemed in my judgment.
Suddenly, your heart beats faster as you realize she's still Miss Cynthia Walker. You can almost hear the words as the melody of her voice haunts your memory.
But you were even more hasty in your action. Your sudden, abrupt leaving, not letting me know where you were. I know now how wrong I was to doubt you. But even when my doubts were deepest, I loved you. You told me once a woman loves in spite of a man's weakness, not because of his strength. Remember, Neil? Well, so it was, and is, with me and you. I haven't changed, and I can't believe that you have. Merry Christmas, Cynthia.
You turn away, stare out the window. Suddenly you're horrified and ashamed that you, a doctor, bound by the sacred oath of Hippocrates, have allowed your hatred for Charlie Bennett to bring you to the point that it did. Finally, the door to the operating room opens. The still form is wheeled silently past you. You continue to stare out the window. You light a cigarette and wait for Dr. Graham to emerge from the operating room. As he opens the operating room door and enters the hallway, you walk slowly toward him.
How's the patient, Doctor?
Well, patient's going to be all right. I'm glad you were around. Sereptamine's a godsend. May I have a cigarette, Andrews?
Oh, sure, Doctor.
Oh, thank you. I wish sereptamine had been available when I first started practice. Matter of fact, I wish I were young like you, just beginning. You'll be a great doctor one day, Andrews.
Will I?
I'm sure of it. You're honest. Duty comes first with you. Why, you could no more evade it than commit murder.
No, I guess I couldn't. But I almost made a terrible mistake a little while ago. A mistake that could have been fatal to your patient.
But you didn't.
No. No, and I don't think I'll ever be tempted to make a similar mistake again.
I'm sure you won't, whatever it was. No, the practice of medicine's in your heart, above everything.
Yes, I guess it is.
Oh, it is. I've always known that. That's why I appointed you.
Thank you, Doctor. When can I speak with Mr. Bennett?
Oh, any time you wish. He's lying down in my office. Bennett wasn't seriously injured, just knocked out temporarily. He was driving the car.
You mean someone else was...
Oh, our patient was the young lady with him. It seems they were on the way out here to the hospital to see one of our interns. She'll be okay.
Doctor, who was she?
Well, her name's, Walker. Cynthia Walker.
Let that whistle be your signal for the Signal Oil program, The Whistler, each Sunday night at this same time. Brought to you by Signal Oil Company, marketers of Signal gasoline and motor oil, and fine automotive accessories. Featured in tonight's transcribed story were David Ellis, Isabel Jewell, and Paul Frees. The Whistler was produced and directed by George W. Allen, with story by Edward Bloodworth, music by Wilbur Hatch. It was transmitted to our troops overseas by the Armed Forces Radio Service.
Hello, Duffy's Tavern. What do you like me to eat? Archie speaking. Duffy ain't here. Hello, Duffy. What am I doing? I'm in the Columbia workshop. What am I in for? Duffy, I said workshop. Yeah. Tonight I am an artist. Yeah, an actor. Yeah, we're doing a thing called Miracle in Manhattan. What do you mean? If it's good, it'll be a miracle. Duffy, you ain't got no Christmas spirit, that's all. Whose idea is it? Well, it's Columbia's Western program director. He dreamed it up. Yeah, it's Charlie Vander. He's a friend of mine. Came to New York on a busman's holiday from Hollywood. Yeah, he's directing it, too. Well, I don't know, it starts like all Christmas plays. You know, the band plays Silent Night, and we're into it.
How much to Times Square, driver?
From here?
Certainly from here.
6 bits, mister.
Okay. Let's sort of take it easy like. I want to take a gander to town.
Okay. Want a little music? I'll turn on the radio.
Go ahead.
Ah, that thing again. I'll try to get you something different. Now you'd think there was nothing else on the air tonight. Oh, get that, will you? Listen to that. It's enough to drive a guy nuts. I'm sorry, mister. I guess this is all we're going to get. Over and over and over.
Doesn't bother me. Matter of fact, I kind of like it.
No kidding?
Sure. It's Christmas music. Heck, this is Christmas Eve.
Well, I'll be frank with you. To me, Christmas Eve is nothing but a first-class headache.
Yeah?
Yeah, what have you got? Slippery streets, a bunch of screwy people with too many drinks under their belts. I tell you, a cab driver's got to watch his step on a night like this. So it's December 24th. So all of a sudden, everybody goes wacky. You never know what's liable to happen.
Well, maybe you got something there.
Yeah, everybody's got packages under their arms. You know, a lot of nice little packages. So they can't reach for the tip. Well, mister, you said you want to see the town. What's on the menu first? How's about starting off with Park Avenue?
Oh, no, just drive. Oh, wait a minute. Pull in over there.
By that little church, you mean?
Yeah, I'd like to sort of drop in.
You know, you guys are people funny sometimes. I've never figured you was the religious type.
Oh, just curious, that's all.
Well, you're the doctor.
Hey, how about coming in with me?
Huh? Oh, nah, not me. I ain't been to church for so long, I wouldn't know how to act.
Well, I ain't been to church much either, but Christmas Eve is Christmas Eve.
Well, like I told you, mister, my racket one night ain't much different than the next.
The music ought to be nice.
Are you kidding? Now, listen, count me out. I'll just sit out here in a cab and listen to the meter tick. That's music enough for me.
I'll pay the damages.
No. You go ahead. I'll wait out here.
It's warm inside.
What are you, mister? Missionary?
Oh, no. Just want company. Come on.
Well, you're paying the freight. Let's go.
Gee, you never go to church, huh?
Nah, you see, there's the kind that does and the kind that don't. I'm the kind that don't.
Did you ever pray?
Yeah, you know, when I was a kid, they used to teach us all kinds of prayers. Our Father, what art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. I don't know, I forget the rest of the stuff.
Say, that's kind of pretty, ain't it?
If you like that kind of thing.
Yeah, let's sit near the back.
Hey, man. Well, them people are awful quiet, ain't they?
Yeah. I guess this is one of the last places left where people can come and think.
Think, huh? What are they thinking about?
Well, you're just one of the people, too. What are you thinking about?
Me? Oh, well, us cabbies is different from most people. I guess all we ever think about is where we're going to get another fare.
Is that all? Even on Christmas Eve?
What else is there to think about?
Oh, all kinds of things. Special things. Sort of wonderful things.
Look, mister, this ain't for me. I get the heebie-jeebies in this joint. I'll meet you out in a cab, huh?
All right, I'll go along. Hey, what are you doing?
The sign there says, help the poor, don't it?
Well, it didn't do you much good to have that meter ticking over out there in the cab. You aren't going to break even.
All right, so I don't break even. Forget it. Hey, that was a sucker. Let's get going, huh? Still that same tune.
Oh, don't worry. I told you I liked it.
Well, of course, that's your own prerogative, but give me Glenn Miller playing that Chattanooga shoo-shoo. Boy, this traffic's tough tonight. Christmas.
Paper! Get Christmas Eve edition! Yeah, paper!
Hey, Cabby, you think you could pull out of this traffic line for a minute? I want to pick up a paper.
Well, you're in the right neighborhood for a paper, mister. You can buy it from little Jimmy Turn over there.
Jimmy Turner?
Yeah, a little crippled guy. Good boy. Ain't walked in years, but always got a smile for us cabbies. That's why we like to bring him business. That's him over there in the corner.
Paper! Christmas Eve edition! Paper!
Crippled, huh?
Wait a minute, I'll get you paper.
Hey, hold on. I'll go with you.
Extra paper! Paper, mister? Oh, hiya, Lefty. Merry Christmas.
Same to you, Jimmy. How's business?
Half sold out already. Hey, mister.
Thanks, Jimmy.
We'll be seeing you, Jimmy. We got to get along.
Look, Lefty. One of my customers threw me a nickel. Rolled out in the street there. Want to get it for me?
Oh, sure, Jimmy. I'll get it.
Why don't you walk over and get the nickel yourself, Jimmy?
Oh, what are you trying to give me, mister? You got eyes you can see, can't you?
Yeah, and you got legs.
You can move your eyes.
How long since you tried to walk?
Long as I can remember. I ain't chicken. I can yell.
I heard you. You sure can.
Bet your life I can. That's all I need for this racket. On a quiet night when I ain't too much traffic around where they can hear me 2 blocks away.
Yeah.
Clear up to 53rd Street. And that's important in my business.
Oh, sure it is. Tell me, Jimmy, what do you want for Christmas?
What do I want? I already got my Christmas present. Last October.
Last October? No kidding.
Uh-huh. When the Yanks won the pennant. Boy, they paralyzed us.
You like the Yanks, huh?
I'll say I do. And mainly because of one guy. Joe DiMaggio. Paper, mister?
Is this the latest edition?
The very latest.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, DiMaggio's the greatest baseball player in the world. Boy, you ought to hear me yell when he's in the headlines.
Oh, driver. That cabin gauge? Sorry, mister. It's all tied up. Thanks. I'll get another one.
Hey, Jimmy!
Yeah?
You know who that was? That was Joe himself. Joe DiMaggio.
No kidding. Oh, gee, I didn't recognize those imaginary street clothes. Oh, gee.
Come on, cabby. We gotta stop him. Hey, DiMaggio! Hey!
Did you call me?
Say, excuse me for yelling at you, but I had to stop you. You see, you've got quite an admirer over there in that news kid.
That's so?
Yeah. Matter of fact, if he could shake hands with you, I think it'd be the swellest Christmas present he could ever get.
Really?
Yeah. Honest. Would you mind?
Certainly not. Come on.
Just a minute, Joe. Let him walk over to you.
What's that, kid?
All you need somebody like you to, well, call him and see.
I don't get it.
Wait a minute. Jimmy.
Yeah?
There's a friend of yours here. He wants you to walk over and shake hands with him.
Yeah, but... Oh, gee, can't you see?
Come on, Jimmy. Come on over here and shake hands.
Joe, I can't.
Come on, Jimmy.
Joe, I'm walking. Look, I'm walking. Man, you see what I'm doing? It's like
Come on,
the whole
Cabby.
run of the world.
I don't like
I'm
crowds.
floating.
Let's get out of here.
I'm walking.
Hey, careful, Cabby. Watch this crowd. Take it easy.
I'm sorry, mister, but it's a wonder I know what I'm doing. I swear I'm dizzy.
What's the matter?
That kid back there. I seen him sitting on a corner like that for 6 years. And now he's walking.
Well, maybe he could have walked all the time.
Yeah. Hey, you're the smart one. You did it. Giving him the will to walk. Tell him that was Joe DiMaggio.
Well, it was.
Listen, look, it's all right to fool a kid, but I know better. That wasn't DiMaggio.
It wasn't, huh?
No, it couldn't have been. Maybe it looked like him, but it wasn't him.
No?
No. Of course not. Of course, only this morning I read about him in the papers. It says that Joe DiMaggio was spending Christmas with his family in San Francisco. Won't that thing ever stop? Well, I hope you like it. Nothing I seem to be able to do about it.
Hey, what's all the excitement?
Oh, say, that's something that ought to be worth seeing. I heard about it earlier this evening. There's a guy up on a window ledge down on the 22nd floor. Claims he's going to jump off at 11 o'clock. Hey, wait a minute. Listen to them chimes. Yeah, that's 11:15 now. Guy's got 15 minutes to go, if he keeps his word. Look, they got a spotlight on him.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they don't want to miss nothing. Guys don't do this every night for a week, you know. This guy must be off his bean, huh?
Who is he?
Oh, some guy used to be an actor, they tell me. Certainly hugging a spotlight for this performance, huh?
Cabby, you think we can get into this hotel?
Huh? You mean you don't want to stay outside here and watch?
I want to get inside right away.
Listen, who are you anyway? You a newspaper reporter?
Oh, maybe.
Well, listen, there's cops all around. You can't... Well, wait, I tell you, I got an idea. You walk in the front door with me behind you, see? They'll think you live there and that I'm going to carry your luggage out.
Oh, good. Come on.
Look at that. It's disgusting. Look at them folks. I'm telling you that's the kind of a thing that can only happen on a night like this.
Ew. That was close.
Well, we're in. Now what?
The 22nd floor. Going up, boy.
Huh?
Yes, sir. 22.
I can take you up, sir, but the police aren't letting anyone into the West Wing. That's where that room is that the man's jumping out of.
I know.
Listen, mister, I hope you ain't going to try nothing screwy here, especially when the kid says that they got cops guarding the room. And besides, you
Here we
can't...
are. Come on.
See? Look at it, just like I told you. 3 cops in front of the door. You ain't got a chance of getting in there. Come on, before they kick us out.
It's worth a try. Maybe one of us will make it. Right down. Here we are.
Yeah, just a minute. Where do you think you're going, Tabby? I'm just following my friend here. You let him through, didn't you?
We didn't let nobody through, and we ain't letting nobody through. We got orders that nobody's to go into this room.
Yes. You mean to say that you guys didn't see nobody go into that room just now?
Of course we didn't, because nobody went in.
Huh?
You must be drunk, buddy. Now run along and sit and wait for Santa Claus to come down the chimney. We got strict orders to keep everybody out of this room until the wife of that nut gets down here to try and talk him out of jumping.
Okay. Okay, wise guys, have it your way. But my fair, Sneak Brian, he's up there in that suicide jumper right now. Now, you guys can laugh all you want, but I'll bet my hack that there's a mighty interesting conversation going on right now. Mighty interesting.
Listen, you. I thought they promised there wasn't going to be anyone else out here to bother me.
I just want to talk to you. Who knows? Maybe I can help you.
Supposing I don't want your help.
Well, people have refused help from me before, but it doesn't matter.
Just remember what I told the others. If you come one step towards me, I'll jump. Or maybe that's what you're here for. To get a better view of it.
No, I don't need to watch you to know what'll happen. I know. So you in a few minutes. When those church chimes ring, you'll hesitate a second, and you step off into space. Your heart's pounding, your throat's so hard you think it'll choke you. And then the night air hits your face, ice cold, and you grab at that air, and nothing there. You have a sick, helpless feeling in your stomach. You thought it was going to be over fast. It lasts a long time, a heck of a long time. Long enough to bring back every memory you ever knew and more. You hate to look down, but you can't help it. You hear a scream. You hear an ambulance bell. You see the lights on the street. People running, shouting. They're rushing up to you like lightning. The people run. They yell like crazy. The lights go brighter. Down, down, down! And suddenly it's over. And you don't hear the police. You don't hear it at all.
You can't scare me.
I know. I'm not trying to. I thought maybe you'd like to hear exactly how it would happen without going through it.
Who are you, anyway?
Just a guy. Who are you?
Don't tell me you don't know that. Don't you read the papers?
Well, not very often. Hey, I hope you're not doing this just to break into print.
I've got good reason for what I'm doing.
Well, a lot of people down there trying to be happy because this is Christmas Eve. And here you are making them all feel sick.
Christmas Eve. A fine Christmas Eve it is for me. No job, no...
What do you do for a living?
I was an actor. A good one, too.
Start putting on a show here, too, ain't you? Go on. Tell me about yourself.
All right, I will. I might as well tell him the time between now and 11. Maybe they told you why they've stopped trying to talk me out of this. They're waiting...
For your wife to get here?
That's right. But they'll wait forever. She won't be here. That's why I'm doing this. I haven't known one decent moment since she left me, or until I left her.
You're sorry about that, huh?
Plenty. I haven't been good for anything without her.
I suppose if you had to do it all over again, things would be different.
Oh, what's the use of even talking about it? Nothing means anything.
So that's why you're up here tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, I've tried everything to get her to come back to me. I've written to her, tried to see her, make promises. I even prayed.
Yeah?
But it isn't any use. You see that clock over there? In about 5 seconds, it'll ring out the hour. And that's when I'm jumping. Right with those chimes.
Why don't you wait? Give your wife a chance to get here. They're trying to reach you.
Well, that's plenty of time. And she won't come when they do reach her. What's keeping those chimes? They could ring any second now, any second.
Those seconds are going to seem kind of long to you because they're the last seconds you'll ever have.
Well, they're not important. Because my life isn't important. Not anymore. Don't think I'm going to back out, mister. Come on, time! Bring out! Like you've been doing all day! You see, I've heard them ever since I've been standing out here. I can tell almost to the second when they're going to ring.
But it's like I told you. These last moments are changing all that. The seconds seem like years.
Yeah, but this can't keep up. They'll go in a moment now, any moment. And then I am going to jump. And you'll see, all of you, that you were wrong. That she didn't get here. She didn't come back to me. Even at a time like this.
Paul. Paul. Yes, darling. It's Anne. Please, Paul. Aren't you going to take me in your arms?
She's waiting for you, Paul. What are you going to do?
Do? What am I going to do? Oh, Anne, thank God you've come back. Anne, those chimes. I was going to jump when I heard the man. I was going to jump.
I know. I got here as soon as I could. And all the while I was afraid I was too late. I thought I was too late for it.
That's limited. I've been caring for these chimes nearly 20 years now. And this is the first time I ever known them to ring late. And on Christmas Eve, too. What do you suppose done it?
What's wrong? You haven't tried to get some other music.
Huh? Oh. Well, I guess I'm kind of mixed up. You got me thinking. Listen, mister, do you mind if I shut this radio off altogether? That silent night is beginning to get me back.
Oh, do anything you like.
Look, mister, you got to tell me what happened up there. How did you sneak past the cops? And what made that guy change his mind? What did you do, anyhow?
Oh, I only gabbed with him a little while until his wife got there.
Listen, I've had some screwy Christmas Eves, but this one tops them all. First, it was that little newsboy.
Hey,
And now?
Heavy. That man crossing the street.
I've known Jimmy for...
Look out! Hey.
Don't worry, driver. I saw it happen. He walked right out in front of us.
Yeah, you did see him, didn't you, mister? He walked right out in front of us.
Come on, let's get out.
Well, the driver didn't stop. No, the man stepped right out there without warning. Somebody better call a cop. Don't worry, there's one coming right now. All right. Will you? Hey, I saw it happen, officer. He walked right out. It wasn't the driver's fault. This guy stepped right out in front of him like a blind man. Hey, wait a minute. He is a blind man. I've seen him around here before. Yeah, so have I.
Here, you. Get your hands off him. Don't be trying to pick him up. It's against the law. Wait till the ambulance gets you.
Against the law? Help someone?
Sure it is. You never know when you're doing him more harm than good.
Okay, officer. Okay.
Hey, wait, he's getting up.
Get back, everybody.
What hit me? I was so excited. Christmas Eve, I was in a hurry to get home. Tell me. Wait a minute. What's wrong? Lights and faces.
Easy, mister. You better not try to get up.
I can see. I'm all right, I tell you. And I can see. I can see.
Hey, he can see. It must have been the shock. The shock when the cab hit him, you know.
I didn't mean to hit him.
Didn't mean to, so you've done him a favor. The shock of it brought back his eyesight.
No, that's not it. Someone touched me. It was a cool hand. The cool hand of the man that helps me.
Huh?
The minute he touched me, I was all right. Where is he? Where is he?
Hey, wait a minute. I'm beginning to get this. It's a racket. In a minute, these guys will be passing the hat.
Yeah, he's never been blind at all.
What? I've been giving him money on this corner all winter, and he's a phony.
Hey, wait a minute. There was another guy with a cabbie. He looked like a suspicious character to me, officer.
You ought to let him in, officer. I bet they staged the whole thing. Put up
character,
shop.
Where'd he go? Well, he was here a second ago. He looked like one of those subversive guys to me. Imagine pulling a trick like that on Christmas Eve.
Now, wait a minute here. The guy's got this all wrong. This guy you're talking about is a very good guy. Now, wait a minute. He's a stranger in town, but he's all right. Hey, where did he go? You see, he even ducked out on you, buddy.
I know it was all an act.
Oh, wait, he was here just a second ago. This guy's been riding my cab all night. He was a regular sort of a guy. Listen, let me tell you what he done. First, it was Jimmy the Newsboy, see? He was crippled. And all of a sudden, he started to walk. All right, now this ain't funny, I'm telling you. Then it was that guy that was going to jump off the building. And now this blind man.
Hey, what are you handing us anyhow?
Get moving, buddy.
Boy, what a frame-up.
Better get moving, cabby. This mob don't like what's happening.
All right, I'm going. Fine thing. The guy just ducks out when I need him to prove a point. In addition, he sticks me with a cab. What a guy.
Just 2 more blocks. It's 2 minutes to Christmas in Times Square.
Hey, was you in a cab all the time?
What do you think I am? Magician?
Sometimes I wonder.
Now, in case you lose me in the crowd again, here's your fare. Keep the change.
$5.
And Merry Christmas.
Mister, look, what goes on here anyway? Who are you? You talk like one of us. I mean, real lingo, and yet you say you're a stranger.
Oh, wherever I go, I sort of seem to be just like everybody else, see? Talking their language. It's always been that way.
Yeah. Mister, do you mind if I turn on the radio again?
No. Go ahead.
Geez, that's funny. Now, you don't hear. What happened to that silent night? All night long they played that one tune. And, you know, it's a funny thing. Before it almost drove me bats, and now, all of a sudden, I got a funny feeling. I feel like I'd give anything to hear it again. Can you beat that? No silent night. What a night this is, huh, mister? I never had such a time before. All them things that happened, I wish I could figure them out. What's your slant on it, mister? I said, what's your slant? Hey, where are you? Geez, he disappeared again. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Director for CBS.
Lux presents Hollywood. Lever Brothers Company, the makers of Lux Toilet Soap, bring you the Lux Radio Theater, starring James Stewart, Donna Reed, and Victor Moore in It's a Wonderful Life. Ladies and gentlemen, your producer, Mr. William Keighley.
Greetings from Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we bring you one of the season's most inspiring hits, a Liberty Films production that's been nominated for the highest screen award. Yes, It's a Wonderful Life. And we present it now with its original fine stars, Jimmy Stewart and Donna Reed. Jimmy in the role which won him a nomination for the best performance of the year. Also in our cast is starred that fine comedian, Victor Moore. It's a Wonderful Life is the drama of a typical American. Might be you, it might be me. He dreams of glory, he lives in hope, he loves and doubts, and only Providence puts a final value on his service to humanity. Our story starts before the war, when life was normal. Shortages were generally unknown, and simple luxuries like Lux soap were abundant. I won't say that's the only reason people said it's a wonderful life, but I do know from the thousands of letters in our files that most of them said it's a wonderful soap. And they keep right on saying it day after day. In fact, the popularity of Lux soap is what makes it possible to present such entertainment as Frank Capra's great production, It's a Wonderful Life, starring Jimmy Stewart as George, Donna Reed as Mary Hatch, and Victor Moore as Clarence. This is the story of George Bailey, citizen of Bedford Falls, New York. George Bailey, who more than anything under the sun wanted to see the world, the wonderful, exciting world that lay somewhere beyond the limits of his hometown. Oddly enough, this story does not begin in Bedford Falls. In fact, it doesn't begin anywhere in the world. It begins in heaven, where the superintendent of angels has just summoned an apprentice angel named Clarence.
Oh, I'm really going down to earth, sir? Oh, how splendid.
Yes. There's a very discouraged man down there, Clarence, George Bailey. At exactly 10:45 p.m., Earth time, he'll be thinking seriously of ending his life.
Oh, dear, his life.
Now, I want you to stop him if you can. Now, sit down. I'll give you Bailey's case history.
Sir, if I should accomplish my mission, may I perhaps get my wings? I've been waiting over 200 years now, and, well, people are beginning to talk.
Clarence, what's that book?
The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, sir. I was reading it when you sent for me.
Oh, fine book. Excellent. Well, you do a good job on George Bailey, and we'll see about your wings.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Now, listen. When George Bailey was a boy, two events occurred that you should keep in mind. One was when his young brother, Harry, fell through the ice and almost drowned. George saved him.
Brother fell through the ice. George saved him.
Ever since, George has had a bad ear. All that icy water, you understand.
Yeah, bad ear. Yes, sir.
The other event came a few months later. George used to work after school in Mr. Gower's drugstore. One day, Mr. Gower's only son died of influenza. It was a terrible blow, and poor Mr. Gower tried to lose his grief in whiskey.
Where you been, George? Mrs. Blaine's called twice. What happened to her prescription? You lost it, didn't you?
No, Mr. Gower. Here it is.
Well, you good for nothing. Don't you know that Blaine girl's very sick?
Mr. Gower, my ear. You're hurting my sore ear.
Teach you to loaf, you lazy brat.
Mr. Gower, you don't know what you're doing. You put something wrong in those capsules.
Shut up.
Oh, I know you feel bad, but look, Mr. Gower, look. This bottle, you used this bottle to make up the capsules. It's poison.
Poison?
Don't hurt my sore ear again, Mr. Gower.
Oh, George.
That's what is the liver, Mr. Gower. All I wanted was to make sure.
Well, Clarence, that was George Bailey as a boy. When he grew up, he wanted to go to college, but there just wasn't the money. So he worked 4 years in the Building and Loan Association.
Building and Loan Association?
Oh, I forgot to tell you. George's father was in the building and loan business. He and George's uncle, Billy. High ideals and low bank account. Anyway, George worked for his father and saved enough to see him through the university. That summer, though, he was going to Europe. Got a job on a cattle boat. Do a little traveling before college.
Boy, oh boy, it's hard to realize it. My last night in the Bailey boarding house.
Yeah, we're sure going to miss you, George.
Oh, I'm going to miss you, too, Pop. Hey, what's the matter? You look tired.
Oh, I had another tussle with old Henry Potter today.
Oh, I thought when you put him on the board of directors, he'd ease up.
Oh, so did I.
I just can't understand a man like Mr. Potter. He can't begin to spend all the money he
I
has.
guess Potter owns about everything he wants in Bedford Falls except our building and loan. That's why he hates us.
Hey, George, can I borrow your tuxedo studs?
Yeah, help yourself, Harry.
Well, where are they? In your suitcase?
I'm not taking a tuxedo on a cattle boat, you know.
Say, where'd you get that suitcase anyway?
Oh, Mr. Gower, going away present. And one of these days you're going to see that bag all covered with travel labels. Italy, Baghdad, Samarkand.
Gonna have a pretty full summer, eh?
I'm going to have a pretty full life.
Hey, why don't you come to the dance tonight?
What? I'd be bored to death.
Well, you couldn't want a better death. Lots of pretty girls. Hey, I got to hurry.
I wish we could send Harry to college with you, George.
No, we've got that all figured out now, Pop. He'll take over my job at the building and loan and work 4 years like I did, and then he'll go.
Oh, he's pretty young for that job.
Well, no younger than I was.
Maybe you were born older, George.
Huh?
George, when you get out of college, I don't suppose you'd come back to the building and loan.
Oh, no, Pop, I just couldn't. I couldn't face being cooped up the rest of my life in a shabby little office. I'm sorry, Pop. Now, I didn't mean that, but it's just this business of nickels and dimes. I'd go crazy. I want to do something big, something important.
Well, in a small way, we are doing something important, George. In that shabby little office, we help people figure out how they can own their own homes.
I know, Pop. I just wish I felt that but I just feel like if I didn't get away, I'd bust.
You're right, boy. You get yourself an education, then get out of here.
Oh, Pop, you want a shock? I think you're a pretty great guy.
Well, thanks, George. I'm glad to hear it. Look, why don't you go on over to Harry's dance? You'd have a good time.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it will drop in. Yeah, maybe it will at that.
So, George Bailey went to a dance. Is that important, Joseph?
Why, it was at the dance he met Mary Hatch.
Oh.
And 3 hours later, he was walking her home. George and Mary were feeling pretty good, Clarence. As a matter of fact, wonderful.
Buffalo girl, can't you come out tonight? Can't you come out tonight? Can't you come out tonight? Buffalo girl, can't you come out tonight? And dance by the light of the moon.
Hot dog. Oh, boy, just like an organ.
At least.
Hey, you know something? If it wasn't me talking, I'd say you were the prettiest girl in town.
Well, why don't you say it?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I will. Hey, how old are you anyway?
18.
18?
Too young or too old?
No, it's just right. It sort of fits you. Hey, look where we are.
Oh, the old Granville house.
Yeah, I got to throw a rock.
Oh, no, don't. I love that old house.
Well, no, don't you know about deserted houses? You make a wish and then throw a rock.
George, but it was such a lovely old place. I wish I lived there.
In there? I wouldn't live in it as a ghost. Now, watch. Watch this. Here we go. How about it, huh? Pretty good shot, huh? Broke a window, huh?
What'd you wish, George?
Oh, I don't know. Not just one wish, a whole hatful. Mary, I'm shaking the dust of this crummy little town off my feet, and I'm going to see the world. Italy, Greece, the Parthenon, the Colosseum. And then I'm coming back here and go to college and see what they know. And then I'm going to build things. I'm going to build airfields and skyscrapers 100 stories high and bridges a mile long. And then I'm going to... Hey, Mary. What is it you want? What do you want, huh? You want the moon? All you got to do is just say the word now.
Okay. The moon, I'll take it. Then what?
Then what? Well, then you could swallow it. And it'd dissolve like an aspirin, you know. And the moonbeams would shoot out of your fingers and the ends of your hair. And you think I'm talking too much?
Yes, why don't you kiss her instead of talking her to death?
How's that?
Youth is wasted on the wrong people.
Why? Hey, just a minute, mister. Hey, you come back here. I'll show you some kissing if you want to.
George!
Hey, Uncle Billy, look here. I'm going to kiss Mary. Watch.
George, get in the car quick. Your father's had a stroke.
What?
George, get in, hurry.
Well, George's father died that night, Clarence. So, of course, George couldn't go to Europe. But that fall, just as he was ready to leave for college, the directors of the building and loan had a meeting. They were going to appoint a successor to Mr.
What was that you said, Mr. Potter?
I said as long as Peter Bailey's dead, let's dissolve the building and loan. We don't need it.
No, wait a minute.
Oh, you wait a minute. Peter Bailey was not a businessman. Ideals without common sense can ruin a town. What do we get? A discontented, lazy rabble instead of a thrifty working class.
Hold on, Mr. Potter.
I meant no disrespect, George, but...
Oh, wait a minute there. Why my father ever started this cheap penny-ante building and loan, I'll never know. But just remember this, Mr. Potter, this rabble you're talking about, they do most of the working and the paying and living and dying in this community. Well, is it too much to have them work and pay and live and die in a couple of decent rooms and a bath? Anyway, my father didn't think so. People were human beings to him. But to you, a warped, frustrated old man, they're cattle. Well, in my book, Mr. Potter, he died a much richer man than you'll ever be.
I'm not interested in your book, George. I'm talking about the building and loan.
You're talking about something you can't get your fingers on that's galling. That's what you're talking about. Well, this town needs this measly one-horse institution, if only to have some place where people can borrow a few dollars without crawling to you. Now, come on, Uncle Billy.
What happened, George?
Yeah, all we heard was a lot of yelling.
Boy, oh boy, you should have heard George.
Yeah, they're in there voting us out of business.
Oh, who cares? I can get another job. I'm only 41.
45.
Well, you get out of here, George. You missed your boat trip. Do you want to miss college, too?
George, we've just voted Potter down. We're still in business.
Whoopee! We're still in business. We're still in business.
But there's one condition, George. They've appointed you to take your father's place.
Appoint me, but I'm going to college. Look, this is my last chance. Uncle Billy's your man.
George, you've got to take it. They'll vote with Potter otherwise. They said so. They even...
I know George Bailey didn't go to college.
That's right, Terence. He gave his college money to Harry. Harry went instead.
But what happened to that good-looking girl, you know, Mary?
Oh, George saw her now and then. Not very often, though, because Mary went away to school, too. Anyway, George waited 4 years more for Harry to come back and take over the building and loan. He could still see the world. He planned to work in the oil fields, Venezuela. Except when Harry came home, he wasn't alone. There was a girl with him, his wife.
George?
Yeah, I'm out here on the porch, Mother. I just thought I'd get some air.
Well, how do you like your new sister-in-law?
Oh, she's swell.
Looks like she can keep Harry on his toes.
Yeah, and keep him out of Bedford Falls anyway.
What do you mean?
Well, Ruth's father, he's got a wonderful job for Harry up in Buffalo.
Buffalo? Well, that means you can't...
Yeah.
George, did you know Mary Hatch is back from school?
Hmm? Yeah.
Nice girl, Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, stop grunting.
Mm-hmm.
Give me one good reason why you shouldn't call on Mary.
Well, Sam Wainwright. Sam's crazy about Mary.
Well, she's not crazy about him.
Well, now, how do you know that? Did she discuss it with you?
Besides, Sam's away in New York.
Oh, and all's fair in love and war. I see. Okay, Mother, I think I'll go out and find that girl and do a little passionate necking.
Oh, George.
Bye, Miss Bailey. By the way, do you want any books at the library?
Library? George, you go and see Mary. Do you hear?
George, is that you out there?
Oh, hello, Mary.
Well, are you coming in?
I just happened to be passing by here.
Oh, I thought you were picketing. Have you made up your mind?
How's that?
Have you made up your mind?
About what?
About coming in. Your mother just phoned. She said you were coming over.
My mother just phoned. What does she mean, Carla? I just happened to be passing by, that's all. I didn't...
Well?
Well, all right, I'll come in for a minute, but I didn't tell anybody I was coming here. You fella can't go out for a walk nowadays without you. When'd you get back?
Tuesday.
When'd you get that dress?
Do you like it?
It's all right.
Well, no point standing here on the porch. Come on in.
I still can't understand it. I didn't tell anybody I was coming here, you know.
Would you rather leave?
Well, no, I don't want to be rude. Sit down for a while.
It's nice about your brother and Ruth, isn't it?
Yeah. That's all right.
Don't you like her?
Well, of course I like her. She's a peach.
Oh, just marriage in general you're not enthusiastic about, hmm?
No. Marriage is all right for a lot of people. It's all right for Harry and Sam Wainwright and you.
For Sam?
Mary?
It's George Bailey, Mother.
What's he want?
I don't know. What do you want?
Me? Not a thing. Not a thing, and I just came in to get warm.
He's making violent love to me, Mother.
You just tell him to go right back home. Sam said he'd call you tonight from New York, didn't he?
I guess so. How about some music?
Your mother needs... I didn't come here to...
What did you come here for, then?
I don't know. You're supposed to be the one with all the answers. You tell me.
Oh, why don't you go home?
I don't know why I came here in the first place. Good night.
Good night.
The way you're shouting, you'd think that...
You'd think what? All right, I'll get it. George, on your way out, would you mind turning off the phonograph?
I'd be very happy to. Doggone crazy song.
Hello? Sam?
Mary, gee, it's good to hear your voice.
How are you, Sam?
I forgot my hat.
Hee-haw.
What?
Oh, I was just talking to an old friend of yours, George Bailey.
Oh, Mossback George?
Old Mossback George.
Well, put him on. I'll talk to him, too.
Wait a second. George.
He doesn't want to speak to George.
He does so. He asked for him.
Why'd you call me? Because if you're... I'm in a hurry.
Sam wants to talk to you.
Oh. Hiya, Sam.
Hey, fine pal you are, trying to steal my girl.
What do you mean? Nobody's trying to steal anybody's girl. Here, Mary, take the...
No, wait, George. I want to speak to you both. Tell Mary to get in the extension upstairs.
He says for you to get on the extension upstairs.
I can't. Mother's on the extension. We can both hear, George. Just put your head a little closer.
What?
Yeah, that's better. We're listening, Sam.
Well, I have a big deal coming up that's going to make us all rich. George, you remember that time you told me about making plastics out of soybeans?
Soybeans? Yeah. Soybeans, yeah.
Well, my father's checked into it, George, see, and now he's going to put up a factory. How do you like that?
A factory, huh?
And here's the point, George. I may have a job for you unless you're still married to that broken-down building and loan. Oh, Mary?
I'm here.
You tell that guy I'm giving him a chance of a lifetime. Do you hear?
He says it's the chance of a lifetime.
And give me that phone.
Here's George again, Sam. George.
Now, you listen to me, Mary. I don't want any plastics, and I don't want any job, and I don't want to get married ever to anyone. Do you understand that? I want to do what I want to do, and you're not going to trick me. And you're... Mary.
George.
Mary. Oh, Mary, darling, I love you, Mary.
Well, so George Bailey and Mary Hatch were...
Yes, George and Mary were married. And they started off on their honeymoon in Ernie Bishop's taxicab.
Hey, where are you two going on this here now honeymoon?
We're going to shoot the works, Ernie. A whole week in New York, a whole week in Bermuda, the highest hotel, the oldest champagne, the hottest music, and the prettiest wife.
So you're finally getting out of Bedford Falls, huh? Then what?
Then what, honey?
After that, who cares?
That does it. Hey, Mrs. Bailey, I haven't kissed you.
Hey, George, there's something funny going on over there. Look over there at the bank. It looks like a run.
All right. Pull over a minute, will you, Ernie?
George, let's not stop. Please, let's go straight to the
No, wait a
station.
minute. I'd better see what it is. I'll be right back.
George, please. George!
In a few moments, we'll return with the second act of It's a Wonderful Life, starring James Stewart, Donna Reed, and Victor Moore. Act Two of It's a Wonderful Life, starring Jimmy Stewart as George, Donna Reed as Mary, and Victor Moore as Clarence. Well, we're back in heaven again, where the superintendent of angels is reviewing the case history of a mortal named George Bailey. Clarence, the apprentice angel, is very eager to depart on his mission to the earth.
Poor George Bailey. Oh, he's certainly in desperate trouble, Joseph. I'll go to him at once.
Now, you sit down, Clarence. Sit down. We're nowhere near the point where George Bailey's thinking of taking his life.
We're not?
Now, where were we? Yes. George and Mary had just started out on their honeymoon when they ran smack into the financial panic of 1932. In the waiting room of the building and loan, 100 frantic people were clamoring for their safety.
Hey, what's going on, Uncle Billy? What's happened? All those people out there.
This is a pickle, George. All I know is the bank called our loan an hour ago. I had to hand over all our cash.
Holy mackerel.
Whole town's gone crazy. Bank's in the same spot we are.
Our charter, too.
What about our charter?
Our charter says we have to stay open until 6 p.m. The state can take away our license if we don't.
How can we stay open till 6 without any money? George, where are you going?
Out to talk to those people. Come on. Now, please, folks, now just a minute. Just a minute, now, please.
How about our money, George? Where's our money?
Oh, come on, now, please. Wait a minute. Now, listen to me. Now, you're thinking of this place all wrong. Your money's not here. Wait a minute now. Let me tell you, your money's in people's houses. In the Kennedy house, and the McLaren house, and in your house, and 100 others. Now, what are you going to do, foreclose on them?
I got $240 in shares. Now, let me have it.
All right, Charlie. Now, you'll get your money in 60 days.
60 days?
Well, now, look, that's what you agreed on when you bought your shares.
I got my money! Yes! Old man Potter's taking over the bank. He'll pay you 50 cents on every dollar.
Then let's take our shares to Potter. Half is better than nothing.
Now, wait a minute, please, folks. I beg of you not to do this. If Potter gets hold of your shares, he'll be owning this building and loan. And he's got the bank, he's got the bus line, he's got the department stores, and now he's after us because he wants to keep you living in his shacks and paying the kind of rent he decides to charge. Now, we can get through this thing all right, but we've got to stick together. We've got to have faith in each other.
My husband's out of work. We need money.
I've got doctor bills to pay.
I can't feed my kids on save. We still got some money.
Hey, Mary.
Here it is, George. You told me to hold on to it. Would have made a nice honeymoon. Bought furniture, too.
Hey, now, wait a minute, folks. Listen. I've got $2,000. All right, Charlie, how much do you need?
$240.
No, Charlie, now listen, just enough to tide you over.
I said $240.
Okay. Uncle Billy, give Charlie $240. All right, Ed. Now, how much just to get by?
Oh, $20, I suppose.
Now you're talking. Now, Mrs. Thompson, how about you?
$20 will do me.
Good. $20. Uncle Billy, pay it back when you can now. Pay it back when you can. All right. Who's next?
Look at the clock. Look.
5 seconds. 4 seconds, 3, 2, 1. 6 o'clock, we made it. Lock that door, Eustace, quick. Boy, we're still in business, Uncle Billy. We've even got $2 left.
George, there's a call for you.
Okay, and then call my wife, will you? She's probably over at Mother's.
Mrs. Bailey's on the line.
No, I don't want Miss Bailey. I want my wife, Mrs. Bailey. Miss Bailey, that's my wife. That's my. Give me the phone, will you? Hey, Mary, listen, Mary, I'm sorry. Come home. Well, what home? Well, 323 Sycamore. Well, whose home is that? What? Well, Mary, how can I... Well, sure, all right, sure, I'll be there.
Clarence, guess what 323 Sycamore was?
His mother-in-law's house, huh?
Oh, no. Number 323 Sycamore was the old Granville house, the one George threw rocks at and made wishes. Yes, sir, that's where they spent their honeymoon. That's where they started housekeeping. They were still living there 2 years later when old man Potter asked George to stop over at his office.
Sit down, George. Sit down, do. Have a cigar?
Well, thank you, sir.
George, you're a young man, married, making, say, $40 a week at the building and loan.
45.
45. Now, if you were some ordinary yokel, I'd say you were doing fine. But George Bailey is intelligent, ambitious. He hates the building and loan almost as much as I do. He's been dying to get out of town ever since he was born, but he's trapped. Trapped into frittering his life away playing nursemaid to a lot of garlic eaters. Do I paint a correct picture, George, or do I exaggerate?
Well, what's your point, Mr. Potter?
My point is that you're the only man in town who has licked me. George, I want to hire you. Manage my affairs. I'll start you off at $20,000 a year.
$20,000 a year? Hey, you sure you're talking to me? I'm George Bailey. Don't you remember me? The building and loan, remember?
Yes, George Bailey, whose ship has just come in, providing he has sense enough to climb aboard.
Well, but what about the building and loan?
Confound it, man. I'm offering you a 3-year contract at $20,000 a year. Is it a deal or isn't it?
No. The answer's no, doggone it. If you offered me $1 million to stay around this town and play stooge to you, the answer'd still be no. Now, let me alone. Don't bother.
George, what did Mr. Potter want?
Oh, it's nothing. He just talk. It's nothing. Oh, gee. Mary Hatch. Mary, why in the world did you ever marry a guy like me anyway?
To keep from being an old maid.
I was going to see the world. I was going to build things. I was going to give you the moon. What have I given you? Not even a new dress, not for months. Gee whiz, I feel awful.
So do I. Mornings especially.
I could have married Sam Wainwright, anybody else in town.
I didn't want to marry anybody else. I want my baby to look like you.
No, you didn't even have a honeymoon, and I promised you that you what?
My baby.
You be... Hey, Mary, you mean you're on the nest?
Well, Mary had her baby, Clarence, a boy.
You don't say.
Then she had another one, a girl.
Well, what do you know?
Night after night, George had come home late from the office. Things weren't good with the building and loan. Potter was really bearing down on him. Then came the war. Mary had another baby by then.
Oh.
But she still had time to help out in USO. Uncle Billy sold war bonds. And George's brother Harry became a real hero. Shot down 15 planes.
But George, what about George?
Well, George was 4F, his bad year. He was an air raid warden. On VE Day, he wept and prayed. On VJ Day, he wept and prayed again.
We're getting pretty close to today, aren't we, sir?
Yes, Clarence. You now know almost everything you have to know about George Bailey, except what happened that finds him down there at this moment, wanting to die.
Well, sir, well?
Well, today's the day before Christmas, Earth time. George is pretty excited.
Hey, Tilly! Eustace! Hey, look at the newspaper. Commander Harry Bailey, decorated by the president. That's my kid brother. The Congressional Medal of Honor.
Gosh, George, gosh.
What do you think about the 15 Jap planes? And the last one he got was just about to dive into a transport loaded with soldiers. You know what that means? He saved lives, hundreds of lives. Hey, gee, where's Uncle Billy? Huh?
We're going to the bank, George. He's depositing that $8,000.
Good. Who's that in his office there?
It's that man again, the bank examiner.
Oh, yeah. Well, good afternoon, Mr. Carter. Hey, Tilly, get the books from Mr. Carter. Will you know, that's my brother's picture there, Mr. Carter. He shot down 15 planes, and one of them was just about...
Well, Mr. Henry F. Potter come to the bank to deposit some more loot, eh?
Sure, you old fool.
How do you like the news in the paper, Mr. Potter? Just can't keep those Bailey boys down now, can you?
Let me see that newspaper.
Here, sorry I can't chat, you old thief. Got to make a deposit. Here you are, Horace. Deposit slip, bank book, and a very Merry Christmas to you.
You too, Mr. Bailey. Say, you've forgotten something, haven't you?
Horace, I've forgotten things all my life. Get a wiggle on, boy.
But, Mr. Bailey, where's the money?
What's that?
You want to make a deposit?
Well, certainly I want.
Well, it's customary to bring the money with you.
It's gone. Where'd I put it? Where'd I put that money?
A terrible thing, Clarence, terrible. Uncle Billy couldn't find the money because the envelope with the $8,000 was folded up in that newspaper he gave to old man Potter.
I just don't know what happened to it, George. I just don't know. $8,000. Uncle Billy, the bank examiner's here, and it's not our money. It belongs to the depositors.
George, what are we going to do? We've traced every step I took. We can't stand here in the street.
Are you sure you didn't put that envelope in your coat pocket?
I think so. Maybe. Oh, I'm no good to you, George. I'm no good.
Now listen to me. Think, will you? Now try and think.
I can't think anymore. I can't.
Where's that money, you silly old fool? You know what this means? It means bankruptcy and scandal and prison. One of us is going to jail. Well, it's not going to be me. Now get out of my way. I'm going home.
George, dear, what's wrong? You haven't said a word since you came home.
Oh, well, that banging on that piano. Does she have to just keep playing that same piece over and over and over and over again?
I have to practice for the Christmas party, Daddy. What is it, dear? Another hectic day.
Yeah, another red letter day for the baby.
Dad, Murphy's got a brand new car. You should see it.
What's the matter with our car? Isn't it good enough for you?
I'm sorry, Dad. I only...
Run upstairs, Petey. See if Zuzu's all right.
Okay, Mom.
Now, what do you mean? See if Zuzu's all right. What do you mean?
Oh, she caught a little cold coming home from school. She didn't button up her coat.
Well, what is it? What do you mean, just a cold?
George, the doctor said it was nothing serious.
Was the doctor here?
Well, I thought he'd better look at her.
This old drafty house. It's no wonder we don't all have pneumonia. Might as well be living in a refrigerator. Why did we have to live here in the first place and stay around this measly, crummy old town?
George, what's happened?
Everything's happened. You call this a happy family? Why do we have to have all these kids?
Daddy, how do you spell frankincense?
I don't know how you spell. You ask your mother.
Where are you going?
Upstairs to see Zuzu.
Hello? Oh, thank you, Mrs. Welch. I'm sure she'll be all right.
Who's that?
Zuzu's school teacher. What? Oh, yes, the doctor says she'll be fine tomorrow.
Here, give me that phone.
George, please.
Mrs. Welsh? Well, this is Mr. Bailey. Say, what kind of a teacher are you anyway? What do you mean sending Zuzu home like that half naked? Do you realize you probably end up with pneumonia just because of your stupidity? You know, maybe my kids aren't the best dressed kids in town, but at least... Hello. Janie, will you stop playing that lousy piano? Cut it out. Stop it.
George, for heaven's sake, what's wrong with you?
I'm sorry. Janie, I'm sorry. Mary, I just got to get out of here.
So that's it, George. You're short $8,000 in your accounts, eh?
Now, please, Mr. Potter, I'll pay any sort of a bonus if you still want the building and loan.
You say it was lost. Have you notified the police?
No, sir, I haven't done that yet. Harry's home.
Oh, why come to me? What about your good friend, Sam Wainwright?
I can't get a hold of him. He's in Europe.
What kind of security would I have, George? What collateral?
Yes, sir, I have some life insurance here. $15,000 policy.
What's your equity in it?
$500.
And you want $8,000? You once called me a warped, frustrated old man. Well, what are you but a warped, frustrated young man crawling on your hands and knees for help? Why don't you go to the riffraff you love so well? Ask them for help.
I'll do anything, Mr. Potter, please. Please help me, Miss. My wife and kids...
I'm calling the district attorney. $500. You know something, George? You're worth more dead than you are alive. Now get out of here. Get out.
And all the time, Potter had the $8,000 in his desk drawer. It's still there, Clarence.
But where's George, sir? Where?
Well, he went over to Martini's Cafe. He's had a couple of drinks, Clarence. He's just standing there, sort of in a daze.
Oh, God. God, dear Father in heaven, I'm not a praying man, but if you're up there and you can hear me, please show me the way. I'm at the end of my rope. Show me the way, God.
Mr. Bailey, you all right? Don't drink anymore, Mr. Bailey. Please, you don't feel good.
Bailey? Did you say Bailey? Which Bailey?
This gentleman is Mr. Bailey, George Bailey.
George Bailey, huh? And the next time you talk to my wife like that, she'll get worse. It isn't enough she slaves teaching your stupid kids how to read and write. You got to ball
You
them
get
out.
out of here, Mr. Welch. You hit my best friend. Get out.
All right, all right.
Mr. Bailey, you okay?
Who's that?
Mr. Welch, but don't worry. He don't come in this place no more. I'll get something for your face. It's bleeding.
I'm all right.
Please don't go away,
Let me
Mr.
alone.
Bailey. Please don't go away.
Well, George left Martini's Cafe 5 minutes ago, Clarence. He's at the river now, on the bridge, looking at the water. Are you ready, Clarence?
All ready, sir.
Very well. Save George Bailey's life, and you'll get your wings.
My wings. Oh, thank you, Joseph. George! George Bailey! Get away from that bridge! You hear me? George! George!
In just a moment, we'll bring you Act 3 of It's a Wonderful Life, starring Jimmy Stewart, Donna Reed, and Victor Moore. Numb with despair, convinced, as Mr. Potter said, that he's worth more dead than alive, George Bailey stands on a bridge, staring at the dark and frigid waters below. Suddenly, there's a splash. No, that's not George. It's Clarence, the apprentice angel. And there goes George in after him. It's a few minutes later now, and in the bridge-keeper's shack, George and Clarence are drying off.
You both sure you're all right? You want a doctor?
No, I'm all right.
Oh, I'm fine. This underwear, I didn't have time to get anything more stylish. My wife gave me this on my last birthday. I passed away in it.
You what, mister?
I see Tom Sawyer is drying out, too.
Who?
My book. I left in such a hurry, I brought Tom Sawyer with me.
Hey, how'd you happen to fall in?
Oh, I jumped in. I jumped in to save you.
Jumped in to save me?
Well, I did, didn't I? You didn't go through with it, did you?
Go through with what?
Suicide.
Hey, it's against the law to commit suicide around here.
Yeah, it's against the law where I come from, too.
Where do you come from?
Heaven.
Oh, that's very funny.
Your lips bleeding.
Yeah, I got a bust in the jaw in answer to a prayer.
Oh, no, George. I'm the answer to your prayer.
Hey, how'd you know my name?
Oh, I know all about you.
Well, who are you supposed to be, anyway?
Clarence Oddbody, AS2.
Clarence Oddbody. What's the AS2 for?
Angel, second class.
Hey, I'm getting out of here. You may not need a doctor, but I do.
Cheerio, my good man.
Hey, look here. Why'd you want to save me?
Because I'm your guardian angel, George.
Oh, I see. Uh-huh. Well, you look like about the kind of an angel I'd get. What happened to your wings?
Well, I haven't won my wings yet. That's why I'm an angel, second class.
Oh, I see.
But you can help me earn them, George, by letting me help you.
Oh, don't happen to have $8,000 on you, do you?
No. We don't use money in heaven.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I keep forgetting. I see. Comes in pretty handy down here, bub.
Oh, tut.
Of course, I found it out a little late. You know, I'm worth more dead than alive.
You mustn't talk like that. Joseph will never give me my wings if you keep feeling that way. You just don't realize what you've done for your folks. Why, if it hadn't been for you...
Yes, if it hadn't been for me, everybody would be better off. My wife and my kids and my friends.
Oh, this is not going to be easy.
And I'll be better off if I hadn't been born.
What did you say?
I said I wish I'd never been born.
George, that's wonderful.
It's wonderful. What?
The idea you just gave me. Well, you got your wish. You've never been born.
I've never been born?
Exactly. No worries, no $8,000 to get, nothing. You simply don't exist.
All right, okay, all right.
George, I can do things, strange things. I can show you the world, George, the way it would be if you hadn't been born.
Hey, wait a minute. This ear of mine. Hey, say something else in that bad ear.
You don't have a bad ear anymore. Oh, I don't think you're concentrating. Oh. Don't you see? You're not the George Bailey you think you are. You're nobody.
Oh, that's the doggonest thing I ever saw, that ear.
Your lips stopped bleeding, too.
Yeah. Hey, what's happening around here? What is this, anyway? I need a drink. That's what I need. What about you, Angel? You want a drink?
Well, I don't quite know.
Come on. We'll go as soon as our clothes are dry.
Clothes are dry, George.
Hey, so they are. That's funny. Well, look, let's get dressed and we'll stroll over to Martini's and then... excuse me. I'll stroll. You fly.
Oh, no, I don't have my
You don't
wings.
have your wings yet.
No.
That's right. I forgot that. I can. A couple of drinks and we'll both fly. Huh?
What'll you have, fellas?
Hey, where's the boss? Where's Martini?
Look, wise guy, I'm the boss, see?
Okay, well, double scotch, quick, will you?
What's yours?
You know what I just love? Some mulled wine.
Huh?
Heavy on the cinnamon and light on the cloves. Off with you, my lad, and lively now.
Now, cut it out.
Oh, come on, here. Just give him the same as I ordered. He's okay.
Two double scotch.
What about this place? It's all changed.
All of Bedford Falls has changed. You're having your wish, George. You've never been born. Oh, there'll be lots of things you've never seen before. Oh, good. Somebody just made it.
Made what?
Every time a bell rings, it means some angel's got his wings.
What'd you say?
Look, Clarence, I don't think you better talk about angels around here.
Don't they believe in angels?
Oh, yeah, they believe in them, but you know, it's just a little
thing.
Then
why should people be surprised when they see one?
Don't mind him, bartender. He's just a little fella. He just never grew up. And how old are you anyway, Clarence?
Well, next May, I'll be 293.
That does it. A couple of pixies, huh? Go on, get, you hear me? Get.
Where's Martini? Will you
Stop
tell me?
asking about Martini. Ain't here any... Hey, you. Rummy, didn't I tell you never to come panhandling around here?
George, look.
Hey, it's Mr. Gower. Mr. Gower. Listen, Mr. Gower, don't you know me? This is George Bailey.
You buy me a drink, mister? Just one drink, will you, mister?
Pinky!
Yeah, Nick.
Throw the rummy out.
Oh, no, please.
Hey, bartender, that's Mr. Gower, the druggist.
That rumhead spent 20 years in jail for poisoning some kid. If you knew him, you must be a jailbird yourself. Pinky, here's 2 more. Get him out of here.
Get up, George. Good thing he threw us in a snowbank, huh?
Where's Mr. Gower?
Mr. Gower doesn't know you, George. You see, you weren't there to stop him from putting poison into that prescription.
Hey, what do you mean I wasn't there? Look, tell me, what are you? Are you a hypnotist?
George.
Look, well, why am I seeing all these strange things here?
Don't you understand? It's because you were not born.
Well, if I wasn't born, then who am I?
Nobody. You have no identity.
Well, what do you mean I have no identity?
No papers, no driver's license, no 4F card, no insurance policy.
Zuzu's bell.
What?
Zuzu's bell. I bought my little girl a bell to hang on the Christmas tree, and I forgot to give it to her. I've got it in my... It's gone. It's gone, too. Everything's gone.
But you've been given a great gift, George. A chance to see what the world would be like if you'd never been born.
You're crazy. You're crazy as a bedbug, and you're driving me crazy, too. Now, look, I'm going home to my wife and family. Do you understand that? And I'm going home alone.
Better not leave him alone, Clarence. Keep following him.
Joseph, I'll stay near him, sir. Poor George. He's seeing Main Street now the way it'd be if he hadn't lived. The thing that's really shocked him, sir, is the building and loan office. Know what's there now? Pawn shop.
What's he doing? Can you see?
He's talking to Ernie Bishop, the taxi driver. He wants to go home.
You better tag along, Clarence.
Oh, I will, sir. I will.
Come on, step on it, will you, Ernie? Get me home. I'm off my nut.
Where do you live, buddy?
Oh, now, doggone it, Ernie. Don't you start pulling that stuff on me. 323 Sycamore.
323 Sycamore.
Yeah, hurry up, for the Zuzu's sake.
Okay, buddy.
Hey, look, Ernie, I don't know what's happened. I'm going crazy or something. I got some bad liquor. Now, look, tell me this now. You're Ernie Bishop, right? And you live with your wife and kid down...
You seen my wife?
What do you mean? I've seen your wife. I've been in your house 100 times. What do you... We built it for you, didn't we?
Bud, my wife took the kid and ran away 5 years ago, and I ain't never seen you before in my life, see?
Okay, Ernie, okay. Just step on it. Get me home. Mary, where are you? Janie, Petey, Zuzu. Zuzu, where are you?
This is just an old abandoned house, George. You have no wife, no children.
Where are they? What have you done with them?
Hey, I'll break that thing. See, I told you. All right, up with your hands.
Oh, Bert the cop. Thank heaven you're here.
Now, look, why don't you be a good fella and I'll take you to a doctor.
Bert, listen to me. What's the matter with you guys? Now, listen, it's that fellow there. He says he's an angel. He tried to hypnotize me.
I hate to use my nightstick, but I guess I...
Ow!
Run, George, run. He can't hit you while I'm biting him. George, run. My teeth aren't what they used to be. Joseph, help! Joseph!
Where'd they go, Ernie? Where'd they go?
I don't know. They just disappeared.
Clarence!
Oh, Joseph, I hope you don't mind my calling on you like I did.
It was very irregular, Clarence. You're by yourself again. Where's George?
He's at his mother's house, sir.
Well, if George hasn't been born, he has no mother.
Oh, he's being very stubborn, sir. He'll just have to find these things out for himself.
But his mother, that's a terribly bitter blow to a man, his own mother not knowing him.
You mean I shouldn't have let him...
I mean you better find him right away. Oh, and stop fighting policemen, Clarence.
I'm here again, George.
My own mother didn't know me. If only Harry were here. My brother were only back from Washington.
Your brother fell through the ice and was drowned at the age of 9.
Well, that's a lie. He got the Congressional Medal of Honor. He saved the lives of every man on that transport.
Every man on that transport died. Strange, isn't it? Each man's life touches so many other lives. Harry wasn't there to save them because you weren't there to save Harry. Don't you see, George? You really had a wonderful life. Don't you see what a mistake it would be to throw it away?
Clarence?
Yes?
Where's Mary? Please, where's my wife?
I I'm not supposed to tell.
Tell me where she is.
You're not going to like it, George.
Where is she? I'll choke it out of you if I have to. Where's my wife?
The library. She works there. She's just about to lock up for the night. So George, come back. Oh, there must be some easier way for me to get my wings.
Mary.
I'm sorry, the library's closed.
Mary, it's George. Don't you know me?
No, I don't know you. Let me go.
Mary, please, don't do this to me. Mary, please, help me. Help me. Where are kids? Mary, I need you, Mary.
Get
please.
away from me. Help!
Help me, Mary. I'm George. Mary.
Clarence.
Oh, where is he, Joseph? Where's George? I'm afraid I've lost him, sir.
You knew you shouldn't have let him try to see Mary. Now they're after him, a mob. They think he was trying to hurt her.
Joseph, I won't even get one wing, will I?
You have one more chance, Clarence. Get over to the bridge by the river. I think George has seen just about enough.
But the mob...
But don't worry. They've lost him, too. Now, hurry up.
Oh, thank you, Joseph. Thank you.
Clarence, where are you?
I'm here, George.
Help me, Clarence. Get me back. I don't care what happens to me. Only get me back to my wife and kids, please. I want to live again.
Oh, thank you, George. Thank you, boy.
I want to live again, please. Oh, God, please let me live again.
George? Is that you down there, George?
Now get out here, Bert. Get out here. You come in any closer, I'll let you have it.
What the hell are you yelling for, George?
Come on. George, Bert, do you know me?
No, yeah. I've been looking all over town for you. Where you been?
Hey, Bert, I'm alive again, Bert.
You sure you're all right? Hey, your mouth's bleeding.
It is. Hey, my mouth's bleeding. Bert, look at the blood come out of there, would you? And where's Zuzu's Christmas bell, Bert? I had it right in my pocket. Here it is. Hey, it's in my pocket. What do you know about it? Hey, Merry Christmas, Bert.
Well, Merry Christmas. Get in the car. I'll drive you home.
You will, Bert? We'll do that. And turn the siren wide open, huh? Merry Christmas, Bedford Falls. Hey, Merry Christmas, old building and loan. Merry Christmas, Mr. Potter. Yippee! Come on. Hey, Bert, come on in with me, huh? What is these people, these reporters? Hey, Merry Christmas, reporters. Hey, Mr. Bank Examiner, Merry Christmas.
Mr. Bailey, there's a deficit.
I know, $8,000, I'll bet, huh?
George, I've got a little paper here. I'm sorry.
I bet it's a warrant for my arrest. Isn't that wonderful? Merry Christmas. Hey, where's Mary, you know? Look at this wonderful old drafty house. Isn't it wonderful? Have you seen my wife? Where's Mary? Mary!
Merry Christmas!
Kids! Hey, kids, Janie, Petey. Hey, I could eat you up. Where's your mother?
She went looking for you, Daddy, with Uncle Billy.
Oh,
Daddy.
Zuzu, my little ginger snap. How do you feel, huh?
Fine, Daddy. Not a snitch of temper.
Not a snitch of temper. Hallelujah!
George, darling. It's Mommy. Mommy's home.
Mary.
George, where have you been?
Mary.
George,
Mary, now look, just let me touch you. Oh, you're real, Mary. Oh, you've no idea what happened to me.
You've no idea what's happened either. They're on their way here.
Who's on their way? Oh, the police department? The FBI, the National Guard? I'm alive again, Mary. Oh, listen, Mary, I'm alive again.
Oh, yes, darling, yes. Now close your eyes and come on downstairs.
What is it? Can't open my eyes yet, Mary? What's going on here?
Now keep your eyes closed. Now, I'll just walk you over here by the Christmas tree and...
Well, the people, I hear lots of people. What is it? Lots of people.
Just 1 minute now. We're all ready, Uncle Billy. Come in, everybody.
George, look! Just look!
Uncle Billy!
Money, George, a laundry basket filled with money. Money for you. Mary did it, George. Mary!
I don't understand. What money? What...
People heard you were in trouble, darling. These people, your friends, they've collected this money for you. The $8,000.
Charlie. Hey, there's Martini. Mr. Gower. Hey, how are you, Mr. Gower? Mrs. Thompson, Ed, Tom, everybody.
None of us would have a roof over our heads if it wasn't for you, George.
Gosh, this is wonderful. Hey, Mary, look who's coming in. Mother. Hi, Mother. Hey, and Harry.
Got Mary's telegram, George. I flew in as fast as I could.
Hey, everybody, a toast. How about a toast?
Oh, good idea, Ernie. A toast to my big brother, George, the richest man in town.
Good old
Daddy, my Christmas bell. You didn't forget.
Forget? Here, honey. Here's your bell.
Daddy. Darling, what's this on the table here? This book?
The Adventures of Tom Sawyer.
Lord, there's something written in it.
Dear George, remember no man is a failure who has friends. Thanks for the wings. Love, Clarence.
Clarence?
Yeah, he's a very dear friend of mine.
Daddy, this is Rustic. Every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
That's right, Zuzu. That's right. That's right. Attaboy, Clarence. Attaboy, Clarence. Happy landing.
It's a wonderful life so long as we can have such fine performances as we enjoyed tonight. From Jimmy Stewart, Donna Reed, and Victor Moore.
Johnny Dollar.
Pat McCracken, Johnny. How's the weather in Palm Springs?
A blonde in a bikini just melted past my poolside window. Goodbye now.
Oh, don't hang up. Johnny, this job's just a few miles north of where you are. It'll take maybe a day to clear it up.
Yeah, you said that last Christmas, Pat, and I got trapped in a blizzard. This season I soak in the sun. Happy New Year.
John boy, we have a bonus list in this office. Your name could be on it.
Near where I am, huh?
It's a ghost town named Calico. An old prospector named Kringle is breathing his last up there.
I thought old prospectors never died.
He wants to change the beneficiary on his $50,000 policy, but a nephew, Ned Kringle, threatened suit if we let him. So you contact our agent, Gene Craig, in Barstow.
Who's the new beneficiary?
Carmen Kringle.
Carmen?
A borough.
A borough?
Yeah. If I don't hear from you, Johnny, Merry Christmas.
Bob Bailey in the exciting adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account. America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
And now, Act One of yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to the Home Office, Universal Adjustment Bureau, Hartford, Connecticut. Following is an account of expenses incurred during my investigation of the Carmen Kringle matter. Expense account item 1, $1.40. Telegram to Gene Craig in Barstow telling him where and when to meet me. Item 2, $50 even to Al Sterner for his charter plane to the ghost town of Calico. The guidebook says there's something about desert country that's good for the soul. And in spite of the air bumps, I got a panoramic view of the Great Mojave that took my breath away. The sun's setting rays hit the weird mineral stratas of the Calico Range and turned them into a patchwork of beauty. Night comes quickly in this country, and I turned to Al when a Christmas tree cluster of blinking lights appeared under our wings. By way of answer, he put the plane into a glide and set us down on the smooth surface of a dry lake bed.
Johnny, you want me to wait around till your friend shows up?
No, thanks. Well, there seems to be plenty of company.
That's just an old coyote. Don't stand too long or you'll freeze to the spot.
Okay.
Good luck. Call me when you want to be picked up.
I watched Al's plane until it was swallowed by the darkness. Then suddenly I got that feeling in the hair on the back of my neck that I wasn't alone. The moon was up enough to make out shadows, and silhouetted in a circle around me was a strange collection of figures. One of the pack moved toward me. And for a crazy second, I thought I'd bumped into Santa Claus's reindeer. Then a car without lights came rushing at me. The headlights slammed on, and I got a glimpse of a donkey herd scattering into the night.
All right, mister. Walk toward me. Slow, with your hands high.
I've learned never to argue with a Winchester 94, so I followed orders. I spotted the weaving headlamps of another car approaching and prayed it was the agent, Gene Craig.
Close enough, Sonny. I can pop the rattlers off a sidewind at 60 yards. So don't you make no sudden move.
He was maybe 60 with gray sideburns and a frosty goatee. A marshal's badge was pinned to his leather jacket.
All right, now, mister.
Marshal, that's all right. That's Mr. Dollar.
Huh?
I was supposed to meet him earlier. I'm awfully sorry, Mr. Dollar. I'm Jean Craig.
Huh?
I couldn't get here until I drove Doc Spangler up to Chris. He's had another setback, Marshal.
Yeah, some darn fool let down a rail on his corral, and Chris Kringle's whole herd got loose. He don't give a chuck for most of them, though, except Carmen. Now he's fretting because she's running wild. Almost had him tracked down when this here fella showed up. If you vouch for him, huh, Gene?
You are Johnny Dollar, aren't you?
Well, a frozen facsimile.
Come on, I'll drive you into Calico.
You tell Chris that I'll have his Carmen back in the corral before the moon's full. And, Gene.
Yeah, Marshal.
Tell the old sourdough to stay alive, will you? We need him around here. Sorry about mistaking you, Mr. Dollar.
Jean Craig, with a J, knew her way around. She was strictly business and filled me in fast on the old prospector with the odd name and his desire to change the beneficiary of his policy.
Everybody calls him Chris because every year he loads up his burros with toys and presents for the miners and their families back in the hills.
Huh?
The kids really think he is Santa Claus. I'm afraid it won't be a very merry one for them this year.
Well, what makes everyone so sure Chris Kringle is giving up the ghost?
Doc Spangler says there's nothing apparently wrong with him. It's more like he's given up.
Oh, what's with this Scrooge character, the nephew?
Ned Kringle seems all right. It's the man with him, Willie D'Agostino. He does the talking for Ned. You'd think he was going to inherit the money.
Well, maybe he's expecting to. You know, you're making a good case for Carmen.
Can a burro be a beneficiary, Johnny?
Chris can leave it to a three-masted schooner if he wants, providing a trust is set up.
Could the people of Calico be that trust if they promise to take care of Carmen?
Yeah, I guess so. Why?
That's the way Chris wants it. That way there'll always be a Christmas in Calico.
What happens when Carmen goes to donkey heaven? Or is it burros that never die?
There'll always be burros in Calico, Johnny. And one of them could always be named Carmen. Johnny, Calico, once the richest silver city in the West.
It was unbelievable. Like seeing a page from the past. Walter Knott, famed creator of Knott's Berry Farm and Western historian, had bought the old ghost town's battered remnants and restored it to the way it must have appeared in the wild and fevered days of the Silver Lode. I could make out signs nailed to weathered batten boards that told of a flourishing and colorful past. Joe's Saloon, The Last Chance, Hyena House Hotel, Lane's Mercantile, the Calico Prince. High on a hill at the edge of town, people were gathered at the entrance to a cave that was illuminated by hundreds of miners' lamps.
Kind of gets you, huh?
Almost like it was planned.
They're rehearsing for the Christmas Eve pageant. Maybe you can spend Christmas Eve with us, Johnny. You don't have other plans.
I have a day with a steam-heated swimming pool.
What?
Come on. Let's meet the old man. Expense account item 3, $100 for a quart of perfume or a mink scarf, anything to wipe the hurt look off of Jean Craig's face. She led me up the steps to the rickety porch of Chris Kringle's wooden shack. A tall figure carrying a black bag stepped toward us out of the shadows.
Jeannie, I'm glad to see you. Will you drive me back to town?
Why, certainly, Doc. Oh, this is Mr. Dollar.
Hi, son.
Hi.
Chris, is he still all right?
I couldn't say. Been sitting out here waiting for you.
You haven't seen the patient?
The medical man owes a duty and all that, but I'm too old to talk back to a gun.
They wouldn't let you in?
Tired of it.
Well, I'm not a medical man.
Well, please be careful, Johnny.
I told you, Starbone, stay away and leave the old man to...
Well, if it ain't little Jeannie, the policy fixer. And who are you, mister?
Willie D'Agostino. This is Johnny Dollar. He's from the insurance company to see about changing the policy.
Who is it, Wally? Who are you talking
Relax,
to?
will you, and let him give us some tourist directions back to Barstow. There'll be no policy changing at this late date, mister. Ned Kringle is very bereaved at the imminence of his uncle's demise. Just family admitted at this sad hour, so mosey along, folks. I'll leave the young man to his grief. Your foot is in the door, mister. I don't like your foot, and I don't like you.
His hand moved to his shoulder holster, but Gene was standing right beside me. It was Doc who suddenly shouldered past D'Agostino and fled up the stairs that gave him my chance. I kicked the door wide. Threw him off balance. I shoved Jeannie aside, and that was a mistake. Because a million Christmas tree lights blazed up in my skull. Then slowly the tree lights faded away, and I saw Jeannie fussing over me and looking worried. A young, nice-looking fellow was seated next to a marble-top table. D'Agostino leaned against the stone fireplace and dangled his gun, smiling like he had a stacked deck.
He's all right, Doc?
A nasty cut, but no fracture.
I know how to pull my punches, Doc.
The old man. How is he?
No better, no worse. Just lying up there staring at the ceiling.
I want to see Chris. I have a right to, Ned. I'm an old friend.
Wooly, wouldn't it be okay if Gene just went up? No, let him die in peace. He's past care and who sees him. Wooly, these people have a right. I said no. I'll get a hero boy on his feet and shove off. Go on.
Come on, Johnny. Help me, Doc.
How's it going to feel, Ned? Sharing blood money with a hoodlum. Your uncle paid for that policy with a pick and a shovel. It took a lot of years, a lot of sweat. And he's had your name on that policy ever since you were born.
Oh, man, Kringle never saw pay dirt in his life. Ned had given money to live on, paid the premiums on his policy. Chris was always tapping the kid, claiming he had a new find. He was going to mine $1 million. Wait, shut up. The old man's dying. Tell him, Ned. Tell him how the old phony was always taking the bows, making like Santa Claus with the money you give him. Willie, haven't you got a... Tell him who owed you the money? I know he's been waiting a long time for this. Me. Willie D'Agostino, that's who.
Is that true, Ned?
Yeah. I thought my uncle would make a strike someday. I honestly thought he'd strike it rich. I know he tried.
He did strike it rich, Ned. When he dies, every man, woman, and child in this town will mourn him. He'll live in their hearts. What will people remember about you, Mr. D'Agostino?
All right, get out, and stay out before I...
Willie, this rifle will make a hole in your belly big enough to pass a borax team through. So you just drop that gun. Well, I don't know what the shouting's about, but you're guilty of carrying sidearms and you're threatening violence, Mr. D'Agostino. And ain't nobody does that in Calico, as long as I am the marshal. Now, you better get.
Ed Noller, I love you.
Oh, so let Gladys hear that.
Well, I'll see how Chris is.
Doc, you tell the old buzzard that I got his Carmen back in the corral. Jingle bells and all.
Yeah, nice work, Ed.
Now, what's holding you, mister?
Okay. All right, let's go, Ned. Let the squares have a round, huh? I'm going to stay here, Willie. I want to be here when Chris... Hey, that's a good idea. That way, no fooling around with the will, huh? Smart kid, that Ned. See you at the funeral, huh? I'll go up now.
You were wonderful, Marshal. And you too, Johnny.
Oh, yeah, sure. I take a nice sock on the head.
Say, you folks better come up, too. Chris wants to say something.
Wait a second. I forget on this. The corral. Come on.
D'Agostino must have had another gun in his car. One of the bullets had found the mark he intended. Willie Boy wasn't taking any chances that Carmen Kringle would inherit $50,000. We found the burro lying on her side, quite dead. Jingle bells and all.
Marshal. Johnny, how could he have been so cruel? Carmen dead. It's just not right.
Yeah, I figured D'Agostino might be mean enough to try killing Chris's pet bull.
We can't tell him about it. It would kill him for sure.
You'll have to know the truth, Gene. You'll have to decide about the will.
Yeah, truth is always the best. And easy this time.
Easy?
Huh? Yeah. I'll just take these bells off of this poor little feller, and I'll put them where they belong. Carmen? What? Carmen.
Oh.
Mosey over here now.
Well, you pulled a switch. You put these bells on another bull.
Yeah. I didn't trust that greasy character, and I was right. And nice girl, Carmen.
Oh,
great. Now, you folks going up and see old Chris. I'll keep an eye on this here $50,000 jackass. That's the way it's going to be, ain't it, Johnny?
Yes, sir. That's the way it's going to be. But I was wrong. The roly-poly little old man on the four-poster bed with his white whiskers resting on the quilt changed his mind again. Even after hearing about how the marshal saved Carmen.
I wasn't going to scratch Ned's name off of that insurance, Mr. Dollar. I tried to shake that D'Agostino, figuring he'd take his hooks off of Ned if he thought my Carmen was going to get the money. Oh, I was scared for a while that I just might have to up and die to square my nephew's gambling debts.
I'm sorry, Chris. I'll work my fingers raw paying every cent I owe, but I'll pay him back with interest. I want you around.
Okay, Mr. Dollar.
Yeah, Chris.
Lift the lid on that footlocker and fetch me one of them bags in there. They're pretty heavy, but you look strong.
Oh, they're sure heavy enough. You got them stuffed with silver?
It's better than silver. Open it up there. Yeah, that's it there. Yes, you recognize that? Yeah. Maybe you'd better have a good sleep, Chris. This here is plain old gravel. Oh, plain gravel. It's uranium dust, huh? The last batch assayed at $900 a ton. And I got a mountain of it staked out. In both our names, Ned. You don't say why, Chris. Mr. Dollar, if you and Jeannie check with the Barstow Bank, you'll find that they'll extend credit on the strength of that assay. You reckon you can spend 2 days buying enough presents so as we won't disappoint the folks hereabouts?
Expense account item 4, $68 even. Telephone calls to 5 principal cities where I thought Willie D'Agostino might be remembered. The police departments had a long list of reasons why they remembered Willie. That was my Christmas present to them. Expense account item 5, another $50. Truck rental to haul the presents we bought for Ned to give away come Christmas morning. And then it was Christmas Eve. We sat on the Kringle's porch and watched the procession up to the Maggie mine. The flickering lights from the miners' lamps reflecting on the faces of the happy children. Old Chris was bundled up in blankets, his little eyes twinkling, chuckling to himself like he knew all the answers to the universe. Jean was there, too.
Kind of nice. Isn't it, Johnny?
Kind of nice. Marshal Ed Noller was one of the wise men in the procession. I recognized the sideburns. And Doc Spangler couldn't hide his height. Oh, he wore an awful beard. Ned Kringle led the burro that carried the Blessed Mother. Yeah, you guessed it. The burro was Carmen Kringle. Expense account total, including return to Palm Springs and incidentals, $229.75. But forget it, Pat. This is the best holiday I ever had. And I was only cold at the start. From all of us to all of you, may this be your very merriest Christmas ever. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Lux presents Hollywood. Lever Brothers Company, the makers of Lux Flakes, bring you the Lux Radio Theater, starring Tyrone Power, David Niven, and Jane Greer in The Bishop's Wife. Ladies and gentlemen, your producer, Mr. William Keeley.
Greetings from Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. Home again after an absence of a year and a half is one of America's favorite stars. And he's here tonight to lend an extra thrill to our holiday season. I mean, of course, Tyrone Power, who joins David Niven and Jane Greer in our Christmas present to you, the delightful play, The Bishop's Wife. Samuel Goldwyn's fine and sensitive screen production won your hearts as well as your applause. And those who saw the picture will have a special welcome tonight for David Niven, who plays his original screen role as the bishop. Now the curtain for Act One of The Bishop's Wife, starring Tyrone Power as Dudley, David Niven as the bishop, and Jane Greer as Julia. It's a late afternoon in December. In a rather shabby section of a large city, two old friends have an unexpected meeting.
Julia, what a wonderful surprise, my dear, beautiful Julia.
Professor Wutheridge, but what are you doing here?
I'm about to negotiate the purchase of a Christmas tree.
I didn't know you celebrated Christmas. I thought you had no religion.
I don't, but I like a Christmas tree. Reminds me of my childhood. Can you imagine me ever having been a child? Tell me, how's Henry?
Oh, he's well, I suppose. But so tired and worried.
You're raising money for the new cathedral, huh?
Slow work, Professor. And you, how's your book coming?
Oh, splendidly. Greatest history of Rome since Gibbons.
Oh, I wish it weren't so late. The cathedral committee's meeting with Henry. I really should be there.
Well, one of these days we'll have time for a nice talk again. Oh, here, for Henry's cathedral fund.
This coin?
It has very little value, I'm afraid. Just an old Roman coin. I picked it up years ago in Italy.
Oh, it's a wonderful contribution.
Nonsense. Might be called the widow's mite, only I'm not a widow. Julia, what's the matter?
Nothing. If Henry and I could only spend Christmas back here, where we were so happy. With you, with all our old friends.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was really very childish of me. Goodbye, Professor.
Goodbye, Julia.
Why, Professor, how good to see you again.
Who are you?
And how well you look after all these years. Well, don't you remember me?
Let's see, it wasn't Vienna, was it?
Vienna. Beautiful old Vienna.
When I was lecturing on Roman history.
And what splendid lectures they were. And what a one you were with the ladies.
I fancy you remembering that.
I've been standing on the corner watching you, Professor. You and Julia.
You know Julia?
In a way, yes.
Poor girl.
She's unhappy?
Yes. When were you in Vienna?
Oh, many times. I'm interested in Julia, Professor, and Henry. What seems to be their trouble?
Oh, no special trouble, I imagine.
Henry's a bishop now,
Oh, yes, that used to be his church over there.
St. Timothy's.
Perishing from neglect.
It's such a nice little church. Well, delighted to have seen you again, Professor.
Strange. Unless I've completely lost my memory, I've never seen that fellow before in my life.
Julia?
I'm terribly sorry I'm so late, Henry. Has everyone gone?
Yes, dear, some time ago.
Not another argument, Henry. Mrs. Hamilton...
Mrs. Hamilton is a selfish, vain old... She made it very clear, Julia. Either we build the cathedral the way she wants it, or it won't be built at all. Oh, what a ghastly meeting.
You didn't give in to her.
Indeed not. I made it very clear I have no intention of being strangled by her purse strings.
Oh, Henry, I'm proud of you.
I had the most unchristian impulse to take those blueprints and give her a good whack over a mink coat.
I beg your pardon, Bishop.
Yes, Miss Castaway?
Mr. Trevor's on the phone.
Tell him the bishop will call him back, please, after dinner.
Yes, Mrs. Brown.
Henry, what's happened to you? To us? To our marriage?
That's a strange question to ask.
No, we used to be so happy. We used to make other people happy. Henry, that was your gift. You're no financier, and you're no promoter. Kowtowing to people, flattering them, begging them.
It's got to be done, Julia. I want this cathedral to stand like a great beacon. I want its light to shine. I want...
Yes, Henry. Oh, here's a contribution I collected.
Oh, what is it?
It's an old Roman coin. From Professor Wutheridge.
What does he think I can do with it?
Well, it's a beginning. Now all you need is just another $4 million.
Julia, don't be flippant about this. Well, if dinner's ready, let's have it over with. I've got a lot of work to do tonight.
The soup's very good, Matilda.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Brown.
Oh, Julia, I'm sorry I was so thoughtless just now. I was just thinking, tomorrow, perhaps we could spend the day together.
Henry.
Call on the professor, maybe. Have lunch at Michelle's.
Michelle's? Oh, it's been years since we've been there.
Please forgive me.
Yes, Miss Castaway?
Well, I've been trying to explain to Mr. Trevor, but he simply insists upon talking to you.
Oh, Julia.
He's on the cathedral committee, isn't he? Well, go ahead, dear. You better talk to him.
Yes, Mr. Trevor. Very well, Mr. Trevor. I'll be there. 10:30 tomorrow morning. Good night. You may as well go home now, Miss Castaway.
Oh, but there's still a great deal of work to do, sir.
You're a secretary, not a machine. Now run along.
Thank you. Oh, and don't forget, you have a speech to make tomorrow at the Junior Assembly.
Oh, no. What time?
It's a luncheon meeting, 1 o'clock. Good night, Bishop.
Good night, Miss Castaway. Oh, God, what am I to do? Can't you help me? Can't you tell me? Oh, God, please. Please help me. Yes?
Good evening.
Oh, what can I do for you?
That isn't the question, Henry.
Oh, well, what is it?
What can I do for you?
Look, I'm afraid you must telephone for an appointment. I'm in the middle of dinner.
I know, Henry. But you asked for help, you know.
I asked... Who told you I asked for help?
Well, you are known to be a good man, and you were heard. I was instructed to come here in answer to your prayer.
Who are you?
I'm an angel.
I beg your pardon?
An angel.
An angel. I knew it. I've been working too hard.
Now, don't be alarmed. I know it's hard to believe even for you, but this is my district, and I...
Do you mind if I sit down?
No, please, do. And now let's see. You have some problems concerning the building of a new cathedral.
Yes.
Oh, here's a picture of it. Beautiful. Magnificent. Well, Henry, do you believe I am what I say I am?
Well, how can I? I've nothing but your word for it.
But you are a bishop. You, of all people, can trust the word of an angel.
Well, what do you propose to do? Perform a miracle?
If necessary.
Oh, why don't you? Why don't you create a cathedral with a wave of your hand?
Oh, no. You wouldn't want me to do that, would you? How would you explain it?
Well,
Henry, is anything wrong? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you had a caller.
Oh, how have you been, Julia? I'm Dudley. Henry is engaging me to help him with his work.
You mean you're going to be his assistant?
That's it, exactly. I'm going to try to help Henry to get some relaxation.
Oh, that's just what I've been praying for.
Oh, you too?
Henry, I'm so relieved, dear. Where do you come from, Dudley?
Oh, all around.
Julia, this man claims that he's an...
I've been doing social service work downtown.
Julia, if you don't mind, I must talk to this gentleman alone.
We were just having dinner, Dudley. Won't you join us?
Well, that's very kind of you, but I really must go. I'll see you both in the morning.
In the morning?
Oh, yes. Bright and early.
I'll wait in the dining room, Henry. Good night.
Oh, good night, Julia.
Are you sure you're an angel?
Oh, I know it isn't easy, Henry, but you've just got to take me on faith.
Yes, but for how long? How long will it take?
Until you can utter another prayer and say that you have no further need of me. Then I'll be gone and forgotten. Julia's waiting, Henry.
Yes, I know, but I still don't understand. Dudley! Dudley, where are you? Dudley!
What's wrong, Henry? You look so pale.
Do I?
Sit down, dear. Henry, what's the rest of Dudley's name?
I don't know.
Why, Henry, you're trembling.
I'm not surprised. A lesser man would quiver.
Well, you'll feel better after you've eaten. Matilda's baked your favorite dessert, dear. Angel food cake. Henry, what is
it? Bishop Brown.
Oh, good morning, Miss Castaway.
I was just in your study, sir. There's a man in there. He says he's your new assistant.
Oh, then he did come back.
He says we're going to be working together.
Yes, there doesn't seem much I can do about it. Well, run along to the office, Miss Castaway. I'll go in and see him.
Yes, sir.
Well, here I am, Henry. Completely at your service.
It may interest you to know I didn't sleep 20 minutes last night. I don't mind adding I'm in a highly nervous condition.
Oh, well, then the first thing we'll have to... Oh, good morning, Julia.
Good morning, Dudley. It's a lovely day.
Lovely.
Henry and I are going out together.
Oh, Julia, I'm terribly sorry, but we can't. I've got to see Mr. Trevor at 10:30, and after that there's the junior assembly.
But you promised, Henry.
Yes, I know I did.
Well, Dudley could represent you at those meetings, couldn't he?
Could I? Well, that's out of the question. They expect me. It would never do if I sent an assistant. Excuse us, Dudley. I want to speak to my wife.
Oh, of course.
In the hall, dear. Julia, you see, the trouble is... Well, that man in there... Oh, I can't explain.
Don't even try, Henry.
Oh, but you mustn't think...
This is the way it is. This is the way it always will be. Well, I'll tell Matilda she can have the day off for Christmas shopping. I'll take care of Debbie. I'll see you at dinner, Henry.
What are you doing, Dudley?
I'm just looking through your files, Henry. Well, I see that Mrs. Hamilton has pledged $1 million to the Cathedral Fund, but she hasn't sent her check.
Well, never mind that file. That's work for a bookkeeper, not work for a bookkeeper.
Well, so you're beginning to believe in me.
I don't know who you are. I don't know where you came from or who sent you. I only wish you'd make haste.
Because the cathedral must be built?
And obviously that's the most important thing.
Or because Julia must be happy. It's going to be difficult to help you, Henry, unless I'm sure of what it is that you really want.
Yes, well, I'm afraid you'll have to excuse me. Mr. Trevor likes punctuality.
Well, run along, Henry. This file's in an awful mess. I think I'll reorganize it.
I still think you're wasting your time on unimportant details.
Well, nothing's unimportant, Henry. Remember, we're interested in even the lowliest sparrow. Bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves. Oh, hello, Debbie. Well, come in.
How did you do that just now? All those cards in Daddy's file? You just waved your hand and they all jumped out of the box and jumped in again.
Oh, that. Well, it's just my system of rearranging card files.
Do it again.
Some other time,
You're Dudley, aren't you? Mommy told me. Mommy says you're very nice.
Well, that's extremely kind of Mommy.
She said that maybe with you here, maybe we'll get to see Daddy once in a while.
Yes, maybe we will.
Debbie, that'll be enough out of you, dear. Come along.
Yes, Mommy.
Oh, so you're going out?
To the park. I'm going to play in the snow. Goodbye, Dudley.
Goodbye, Debbie. Have a good time. Julia.
Dudley, I didn't expect to see you here.
Oh, I often walk in the park. Well, Debbie seems to be having a fine time. Regular snowbird.
Aren't you supposed to be working?
I always take a walk before lunch. Relaxing, you know.
Oh, I wish you could convince Henry of that.
Speaking of lunch, Julia, I thought I'd go to Michelle's. Ever been there?
Michelle's? Oh, yes. We used to go there often, years ago.
How about going there today?
You and I to Michelle's? Oh, no. No, I couldn't.
Why not?
Well...
Oh, surely you don't think Henry would mind.
Oh, no, it isn't that. Well, you see, Matilda's off shopping, and I'll have to look after Debbie.
Oh, yes. Yes, sir. But here's Matilda now.
Hello, Mrs. Brome.
Matilda.
I just thought, Mrs. Brome, that if you wish, I'll take Debbie home.
But, Matilda, you're shopping.
Oh, I finished it. I finished it so quick. It was just like a miracle.
Oh, you don't say.
I thought Debbie might like to go home and make Christmas cookies.
Oh, I'm sure she'd love to, but...
Well, then, Mrs. Brome, I'll just go and get her.
Well, Julia, Michelle's?
I think that would be very nice.
Good.
Dudley.
Yes?
Just a minute ago, when you said you saw Matilda...
Yes?
Oh, it's nonsense.
Oh, what's nonsense?
You were looking the other way when you said you saw her.
Oh, I was?
I mean, I thought you were. How silly of me. Wait here, Dudley. I'll say goodbye to Debbie.
Julia, I'm home, Julia.
Why, Bishop, I thought you were out for lunch.
Well, I cancelled my appointment, Matilda. Are Mrs. Brome and Debbie here?
Well, Debbie's upstairs, sir, but Mrs. went out to lunch with Mr. Dudley.
Oh, well, she said... With Dudley?
Why, yes, sir. I thought you knew, sir.
Oh, yes, of course.
Oh, dear.
I'm so glad you knew about Michelle's, Dudley. It's so nice to be back here again. Only? Well, you seem to know so much. Makes me feel uncomfortable.
Well, in that case, I'm sorry I ever learned anything. You have memories of this place, haven't you?
Yes. As a matter of fact, it was in this restaurant that Henry asked me to marry him.
Yes, I know.
You know?
I mean, I know how you must feel. There's a fortune teller over there. You care to have your palm read?
No, thank you. Would you?
No, I know too much about myself as it is.
And I know so little about myself.
Oh, really? May I look at your hand?
Can you tell fortunes, too?
It's not too difficult.
Well, what do you see?
I never noticed, Julia. Your eyes are green. I see a great deal of happiness. I see a woman who's adored. I see a rich, full life.
Do you see Henry's new cathedral?
No. No, I don't.
And Debbie?
Oh, no need to worry about her. She'll be like you, Julia. She'll have youth and beauty no matter how old she lives to be.
I wish I could believe you.
You may.
You haven't looked at my hand once. I simply don't know what to think of you, Dudley. Whether you're serious... Oh, no.
Well?
That table over there. No, don't look. 3 ladies, all on the cathedral committee. They're simply glaring at me.
Well?
They saw you holding my hand. My hand.
Oh. Well, then if you'll excuse me, I'd better do something about it, hadn't I?
What did you do to them? Now they're smiling at me. Look, they're waving.
Well, wave back, Julia.
Oh, yes.
I didn't do anything to them. Just introduced myself, chatted a moment. They're really very friendly, Julia. They promised to drop by our table a little later.
Dudley, may I make an understatement?
Oh, please do.
You are a very unusual man.
I'll let you in on something, Julia. You're quite right.
Act 2 of The Bishop's Wife, starring Tyrone Power as Dudley, David Niven as the Bishop, and Jane Greer as Julia. Reliable authorities tell us that the Christmas season is the happiest time of the year. But it's anything but that for young Bishop Henry Brougham. Determined to build a cathedral, he can't raise the money. And if that isn't trouble enough, he finds his prayers have been answered in the person of a young, handsome, and full-fledged angel named Dudley, who seems to find the bishop's wife better company than the bishop.
I enjoyed lunch very much, Dudley. Now, don't you think we'd better go home?
But I thought you liked to walk.
Oh, I do. But... Oh, Dudley, wait. There's a friend of mine. Professor Wutheridge. Professor, wait.
Julia, what wonderful luck meeting you again. This man, are you with him?
Yes, of course. Dudley, this is Professor Wutheridge.
Oh, the professor knows me well. The University of Vienna.
Young man, I don't believe you've ever been near Vienna.
Dudley is Henry's new assistant.
You mean you really know this fellow?
Of course I do.
Well, in that case, how about dropping into my humble diggings for a bit of Yuletide cheer?
Oh, I'd love to, but only for a moment.
Come along, Dudley. It's just around the corner.
Well, Professor, when are you going to show us your book?
My book? Never.
Please.
Oh, you're writing a book?
You didn't know?
You didn't tell me.
I described the book in detail in the course of those lectures I gave in Vienna. Julia, I'm now certain this fellow's an imposter.
Oh, that book. Oh, I thought you finished that one years ago.
Oh, I see. No, for 20 years I've talked about that book, but in all that time I haven't written a word, not one word.
But why not?
Because I can't think of anything original to say. Just the same old monotonous history, dry as dust. Never could find the right words, either to tell to a pretty girl or to write a book.
Even when you had this coin to inspire you?
Well, that's the coin you gave to Henry, Professor.
Yes, I borrowed it from Henry's desk.
And you wasted your time. It's worthless.
Oh, on the contrary. This coin is one of the rarest of all antiquities. Only 100 of these coins were minted by Julius Caesar 2,000 years ago. That was when Cleopatra visited Rome. Presumably these coins were used to pay her hotel bill.
Why, that's amazing.
Nobody knew about it except Caesar's wife, and she had the coins destroyed. But this one she overlooked. It's an unwritten chapter in history, and you, Professor, will write it.
Do you know any more stories like that?
Oh, any number of them.
Oh, you're a curious fellow, Dudley.
Have you just begun to notice that?
Where do you come from?
Well, what if I told you that I come from another planet? Would you believe me?
I don't know.
I'd believe you, Dudley.
And you'd be right, Julia, as always. We all come from our own little planets. That's why we're all different. That's what makes life interesting.
Oh, it's getting late. I must be leaving, really.
Oh, sorry, Professor.
If my wine bottle wasn't empty, we could say goodbye with another drink.
Empty?
Oh, yes, I had barely enough for With the bottle. It's half full.
Oh, well, save it for next time, Professor.
I'm really getting old when I can't see what's inside a wine bottle. Dudley.
Yes, my friend?
There's one thing that troubles me greatly.
Well?
To write a history is a tremendous task. I wonder, will I have time to finish it?
You'll finish it. You'll have time.
I don't know why I'd ask you that question. How would you know? Yet somehow I believe you. You see, for quite a while now, every time I passed a cemetery, I felt as if I were apartment hunting.
Goodbye, Professor. Come and see us, please.
I will. Goodbye, and God bless you both.
I'll pass that recommendation along. Thank you, Professor.
They're coming up the walk now, Bishop. Mrs. Brom and Mr. Dudley.
Oh, they are. Well, I hope dinner isn't spoiled, Matilda.
Oh, no, sir. I had sort of a feeling they might be late.
Very considerate of you.
Henry?
Good evening, Julia.
I'm sorry I'm so late, dear.
Hello, Henry. Good evening, Dudley.
We had the most marvelous time. Oh, I wish you'd been with us.
Yes, I wish I had.
Is Debbie asleep yet?
She's waiting to see you.
Oh, good. I'll go right up.
I trust you spent a profitable afternoon, Dudley?
Oh, yes. Yes, did you have a profitable afternoon, Henry?
Not very. Dudley, I'd like to see you for a moment. I mean, here in my study.
Certainly.
Well, this won't take long, but I'd rather not be interrupted. You'll excuse me if I lock the door. Dudley, I simply cannot go on like this. Can you prove to me that you are an angel?
Proof? You mean a document? Oh, surely you of all people should know that angels need no passports.
I'd be a lot happier if I could see you perform a miracle.
Well, what kind?
Well, make this desk rise up and fly around the room.
Oh, Henry, please. I didn't come here to do tricks. I'm surprised at you.
I don't believe you are an angel at all. I think you're a demon right out
Henry, no. No, don't say that word.
Well, anyway, now you know how I feel.
Yes.
Now, wait a minute, Dudley. I'm not through yet. There's another matter. The door. I locked that door. He just opened it and walked out. Dudley! Wait a minute. Dudley! Now it's locked again. Oh. Dudley!
Run upstairs, dear, to say goodnight to Debbie.
Oh.
Anything wrong?
Oh, no, nothing. Oh, you look very well, Julia. You're very bright and gay.
I feel gay, Henry.
I think you're an excellent wife, Julia.
Why, thank you.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of the well-ordered life we lead, and I want you to know that I think the credit for that is due to you much more than to me.
Thank you again, dear.
Do you think I'm an excellent husband?
Of course, dear. Henry, I hope you're going to take things easier now. I mean with Dudley here. I think he's very able.
You do?
Yes. He knows so many things.
What, for instance?
Well, you should have seen him this afternoon. We met Professor Wutheridge. Why, Dudley knows more about history than he does.
He should. He's been at it longer.
What?
Oh, nothing. I'll go up and see Debbie now, dear.
Don't you know any stories, Mr. Dudley?
Oh, I know hundreds of stories, Debbie.
I think it would be very nice of you to tell me one.
Well, I know a story that happened many, many years ago about a boy who lived in a little town.
What was his name?
His name was David. He was a shepherd, and the town where he lived was called Bethlehem.
Oh, I know Bethlehem. That's where the star was.
That's right. Only David lived long before the star. Well, one night David was out in the hills tending his sheep. He was playing the harp and singing. And then all of a sudden, an angel came down and spoke to him.
How did David know he was an angel?
Oh, he didn't know. And that's the way it always is. Angels come down and put ideas into people's heads, and then people feel very proud of themselves because they think it was all their own idea. Well, anyway, this angel spoke to David. One of your lambs has strayed, he said. So David put aside his harp and went out into the darkness to find the lamb. Of course, the angel guided him. And when David found the lamb, he saw a great ferocious lion there.
Oh, dear.
So David said to the lion, "You get away from that lamb." And the lion said, "You get away from me or I'll eat you too."
Did David run away?
Oh, no. No, the angel put another idea into his head. And David took out his sling and hurled a stone right between the lion's eyes.
Served him good and right.
Yes, I think it did. And David picked up the lamb and carried it back to the fold. And then he felt so happy that he took his harp and he made up a new song. It started like this. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. Oh, come in, Henry. I think you can tell the rest of this.
Some other time.
Well, good night, Daddy.
Good night, darling. Now, if you're ready, Dudley, so is dinner.
Thank you, Henry. Thank you.
So right after dinner, Henry, we'll get a taxi and go down to St. Timothy's.
St. Timothy's? Tonight?
Of course, dear. The choir's rehearsing for the benefit thing. Henry, we promised Mr. Miller we'd...
Oh, Julia, I telephoned Mrs. Hamilton this afternoon.
Henry.
I apologized to her for some of the things I'd said. I had to, and she said I might call on her tonight.
But the rehearsal's just for you.
$1 million for Mrs. Hamilton, dear, is far more important. Besides, Mr. Miller will be delighted to see you.
You're his bishop, Henry. And besides, I just don't like going alone.
Oh, my evening seems quite free, Henry.
Oh, no, definitely not. You've done enough already.
Well, I was about to suggest that I see Mrs. Hamilton and you take Julia to St. Timothy's.
You and Mrs. Hamilton? Oh, no.
Well, it's just a suggestion.
Dudley, would you mind very much going with me?
Julia!
Yes, Henry? Well?
I think that might be a very good solution. Thank you, Dudley.
You're welcome, Henry.
Mrs. Brome. Oh, I'm delighted to see you.
Hello, Mr. Miller. Oh, this is Mr. Dudley, the bishop's new assistant.
Oh, Mr. Dudley, a pleasure.
Thank you. The bishop will try to get here later, Mr. Miller. Something important came up.
Of course, he's such a busy man now.
He didn't want to delay rehearsal.
Mrs. Brome, I'm terribly embarrassed. Look over there. Only 2 of the boys have come. Oh, it's just too difficult, I suppose, trying to compete with basketball and Christmas.
I wouldn't worry, Mr. Miller. They'll all show up. Hiya, boys.
Hi.
What do you sing?
Me? Oh, first soprano.
Any good?
I doubt it.
Well, how about giving out?
You mean alone?
Well, you've got Rupert with you. Hiya, Rupert.
Hi.
Well, what do you say?
It's okay by me.
Fine. I'll start you off at the piano.
Mrs. Brome, look. Here come some of the other boys.
Why, yes. Maybe basketball isn't so important after all.
The stars in the sky looking down.
You can be proud of them, Mr. Miller. They sing beautifully.
They've never sung so well. Never. And look, they're all here now. I don't understand.
Oh, if Henry could hear this. Like angels.
Better, believe me.
Baby wakes, but little Lord Jesus.
I'm so relieved, Bishop Brome. You needn't make any further apologies.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Hamilton. And in view of your generosity, the George B. Hamilton Memorial Chapel shall be located wherever you specify in the new cathedral.
Well, now we're getting somewhere, aren't we? Oh, there's another matter. That window depicting St. George and the dragon.
Yes?
I should very much like the countenance of St. George to resemble my late husband.
Oh. Who do you see as the dragon?
Oh, any dragon.
Thank you. Well, now that we're in such complete accord, would you mind very much if we postponed the details? Julia's waiting for me at St. Timothy's.
Very well. We can go over the plans when I transfer the funds.
Thank you so much. Well, that's strange.
Is anything the matter?
Well, this chair, I can't get up. It's stuck to I'm stuck to it.
Stuck to the chair?
Yes, it doesn't seem quite right, does it?
Stevens, come here, please.
Yes, madam.
There is something wrong with the bishop's chair.
Oh, madam, it must be the new varnish. The furniture people should have warned us.
I do hope I'm not harming the chair.
Oh, this is preposterous.
Awkward situation, isn't it? Perhaps you'll give a little pull at the back, Stevens.
Yes, sir.
Again, please.
Your trousers, sir. I'm afraid if we pull any more...
Mrs. Hamilton, might I use the telephone?
Yes, of course. It's right over there. Can you walk?
After a fashion.
That chair, madam, it clings to him like a brother.
Well, do something, Stevens. Call the shop. Get a plumber.
Hello? Matilda, this is Bishop Brome. I'm at Mrs. Hamilton's. I want you to come here at once with another pair of trousers. Well, what difference does it make? Just bring me another pair of trousers. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so sorry this has happened.
Oh, if I could only get in touch with Julia or Dudley. Dudley! This is all his doing. Dudley!
No, Bishop, don't be nervous. Have a chair, Bishop.
I have a chair.
imagine what happened to Henry. He was so sure he'd meet us there.
Well, I suppose he's detained at Mrs. Hamilton's.
Oh, of course. You know, Dudley, it's a strange thing. You seem to be able to make me feel as if everything's going to be all right.
Everything could be all right for everyone, Julia, if people would only learn to behave like human beings.
It's a lovely night, isn't it? Oh, driver, could you take us through the park, please?
But that's out of your way, lady.
You getting bored with us, driver?
Say, I'll drive you by way of Mexico City if you want me to. That's the trouble with this country. Too many people who don't know where they're going, they want to get there too fast. I'd call you two very unusual people.
Oh, thank you. You're very perceptive.
You know your destination, but you're in no hurry to get there. And you're not reluctant to invest an extra 4 bits for a detour with Mother Nature.
Just blame yourself and watch where you're going.
Oh, that was really a close one.
Holy smoke. Did you see the way I missed that truck? Like a miracle.
Yes, I know, but just don't overplay your hand.
Hey, look, they're ice skating over there.
Oh, so they are. Julia, we're going ice skating.
Oh, no, we mustn't. It's too late. We couldn't. Do you really think we could?
You can stop here, driver. We're going ice skating. Oh, and you too. Well, this is it, Sylvester. What do I owe you?
Not a cent, my friend. Want to know why? Because you and the little lady here have restored my faith in human nature. Well, good night, Dudley. Good night, Julia.
Good night, Sylvester.
Sylvester is a noble soul. His children and his children's children will rise up and call him blessed.
Oh, this has been the most wonderful evening I've had in years.
It's the most wonderful evening I've had in centuries. You're a beautiful skater, Julia. In fact, you're beautiful.
Well, you've come home.
Oh, hello, Henry.
Henry, what happened to you? I thought you were going to meet us at St. Timothy's.
What happened to you? It's almost 10 o'clock.
You'll never guess, Henry. We've been ice skating.
Ice skating?
Yes. You should have seen Dudley. He's marvelous, Henry. Oh, and those boys at St. Timothy's. The way they sang. It was simply heavenly.
I'm sure it was.
Did you have a successful meeting with Mrs. Hamilton?
Quite satisfactory, thank you.
Good. I'll be right down, Henry.
Dudley?
Yes, Henry?
Whatever went on in these last few hours, there's one thing I'm sure of. Julia is absolutely blameless.
Oh, of course she is.
But you deliberately stopped me from joining you by the seat of my pants.
Henry, if you had sent me to represent you with Mrs. Hamilton, I would have gone. But you didn't, so I represented you with your wife.
Oh, is that part of the normal duties of an angel?
Well, sometimes, Henry, angels must rush in where fools fear to tread.
I haven't the faintest idea what that means, and I don't want it explained to me. In any event, you can go now, Dudley. I have solved my problem. Mrs. Hamilton is giving the money for the cathedral.
But that was a foregone conclusion, providing you were willing to make a slight sacrifice of your principles.
Now, don't you think it's worth it for this glorious edifice?
I'm not so sure of its glory at a time like this.
Oh, you're not?
Now, these are rather lean years for the world, Henry. So many people need food, so many need shelter. That big roof could make so many little roofs.
I'm dealing with a materialistic, selfish woman. She wouldn't listen to talk like that.
Did you try?
You came here so that I could have a cathedral. Well, I've got a cathedral, and I want you to get out of my house and out of my life and away from Julia.
Suppose you pray for that, Henry. After all, it was prayer that brought me here.
Very well. I'll pray.
Henry, I'm afraid that's no prayer.
It was right from my heart. I want you to go.
Julia doesn't.
Julia, get out. Get out.
Julia is about to come down those stairs. Don't let her see you like this, Henry. Try to calm yourself.
Dudley?
He's gone.
Oh, Debbie's awake. She wants to say goodnight to him.
I just told you Dudley is gone.
But where?
How should I know?
But why did he leave so suddenly?
Because I got rid of him. I told him to go away. I fired him.
Why?
Because he's incompetent. He's no good at his job, and I cannot stand the sight of him.
Henry!
Believe me, Juliet, I know what I am doing.
Here's our producer, Mr. William Keeley.
The curtain rises on the third act of The Bishop's Wife, starring Tyrone Power as Dudley, David Niven as the Bishop, and Jane Greer as Julia. 2 days days have passed since Dudley disappeared, much to the relief of Bishop Henry Brougham. And now it's early evening on Christmas Eve.
Here's the list of your calls, Bishop, ending at Mrs. Hamilton. Oh, and there's a taxi waiting for you outside.
Thank you, Miss Castaway. If you're through typing my sermon before I'm back, just leave the copies on my desk.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry to keep you so late on Christmas Eve.
Oh, it's all right, sir. Bishop Brown?
Yes?
There's still no word from Mr. Dudley.
Miss Castaway, I discharged Mr. Dudley. There's no reason at all to hear from him.
Yes, sir.
Now, if you don't mind, please tell Mrs. Brougham that the taxi is waiting.
We can go to the Tropshires first, Henry, then the Vandover.
Julia! Hiya, Julia!
Sylvester. Well, what are you doing here?
Well, when the call came in for a cab, I sure hightailed it over here. I was hoping there'd be another skating party. Hey, where's Dudley?
I don't know.
Look, you got a preacher with you.
Yes, this is...
Don't tell me. A wedding. You and Dudley.
Sylvester, this is my husband, Bishop Brougham.
How do you do?
Oh.
And now, if you don't mind, we'd like to go to North Maple Street by taxicab, Sylvester, not ice skates.
Good evening, Miss Castaway.
Mr. Dudley.
Did I startle you?
Oh, yes, I didn't hear you come in. But where have you been?
Oh, here and there, Miss Castaway.
Why, we've been so worried about you. And poor Mrs. Brougham, she's been popping in and out of here all day. Have I seen you? Have I heard from you?
Where is she?
She and the bishop are making Christmas calls.
Oh, they'll be home.
Oh, yes, sir. After Mrs. Hamilton's. Then they go to St. Timothy's for the midnight service.
You should be home, too, Miss Castaway. I'll type that sermon for you.
Oh, no, the bishop told me...
It's Christmas Eve. You should be with your family.
Well, if you really... Oh, thank you, Mr. Dudley.
Merry Christmas, Mildred.
Oh, Merry Christmas, Dudley.
Henry's Christmas sermon. The new cathedral. Mrs. Hamilton's magnificent gesture. Money. Pledges needed. Sorry, Henry, but that's no sermon for Christmas. Suppose you tell them the story of an empty stocking. Once upon a midnight clear, there was a child's cry. A blazing star hung over a stable, and wise men came with birthday gifts. We have forgotten many things during the centuries, but not that night.
Say he's calling, sir.
Oh, I'm Dudley Stevens, Bishop Brougham's new assistant. Would you mind telling Mrs. Hamilton I'm here?
I don't believe she's expecting you, sir.
Oh, I'm sure she isn't.
Yes, sir.
I'll wait in the music room.
The music room, sir?
Yes, there's a harp in there. I wonder if she'd mind
I'm afraid she would, sir.
Oh. Well, in that event, you'd better hurry off and tell her.
Yes, sir, I shall.
Who are you?
Oh, good evening, Mrs. Hamilton. This is a beautiful harp you have.
My butler said you told him you're Bishop Brougham's assistant.
Oh, yes, Mrs. Hamilton. The bishop will be along a little later.
That music you're playing.
I thought you'd recognize it.
There's no one living who knows that composition, except me.
What a shame that Alan Cartwright died. That only you and I would know his music.
Alan Cartwright died nearly 40 years ago. You couldn't have known him.
I'm much older than you think. Mrs. Hamilton, tell me about him. About Alan Cartwright.
What is there to tell? He was the only man I ever loved. But I was afraid of poverty, so he went away and I never saw him again. Why am I telling you this?
And so you married the rich George Hamilton?
I made George happy, I think. And since he died, I've spent a fortune honoring his memory. In empty monuments. How did you know about Alan Cartwright?
It doesn't matter. Oh, Mrs. Hamilton, they're at the front door now. Henry and Julia.
I can't see them now. I can't.
Yes, you'll see them. You'll go to the hall and you'll greet them in your usual warm-hearted manner.
You'll come with me and you'll stay, won't you, Dudley?
No, I'm afraid I can't. I have a great deal of work to do.
Bishop and Mrs. Brougham are here, madam.
Now, don't keep them waiting.
How do you do, Mrs. Hamilton?
Julia, how nice of you to come and see me. And Henry, Merry Christmas. Henry, I said Merry Christmas.
Oh, yes, Merry Christmas, Mrs. Hamilton.
Oh, and no more of this Mrs. Hamilton business. My name is Agnes. And now we can... Oh, he's gone. Oh, he's gone already.
Gone? Who?
Dudley.
He was here.
I might have known it.
But where did he go?
Oh, that poor man. He said he had so much work to do. Really, Henry, you must make him take some rest.
I'm trying to make him do just that.
I can't thank you enough for sending him to me. Meeting Dudley? Oh, I know it sounds ridiculous, but meeting him has been the greatest spiritual experience of my life. How did you ever find him, Henry?
More or less of an accident, I suppose.
Or more or less of a miracle.
Oh, it was. Talking with this wonderful, understanding man has... Henry, I've suddenly changed my mind about the cathedral.
You have?
Yes. I'm going to give my money to those who need it, to the poor, the homeless, the unappreciated. And I want you to direct the spending of it.
Now you see what Dudley's done, Henry.
Yes, I see.
And you understand.
Mrs. Hamilton, Julia, forgive me, but I have to leave. There's someone I must see immediately.
Henry.
Henry, my dear fellow, sit down, sit down.
Professor Weathers, I just had to see you.
Yeah, I'm delighted. Here, Henry, here. A glass of sherry.
No, thank you.
Oh, but I insist. Henry, you see this bottle? Now watch. I filled 2 glasses. Behold, the bottle is still half full. And what's more, the sherry itself, it stimulates, it warms, it inspires. But no matter how much you drink, it never inebriates, and the contents never diminish. Always half full.
Dudley's been here?
Yes. And that bottle isn't all. He told me to look up some ancient texts in the library, which no living scholar has ever been able to decipher. I read them as if they were English. Let's face it, Henry. This Dudley fellow is not like the rest of us.
He says he's an angel.
An angel?
That's funny. Nothing stopped me from saying it that time. Angel. He says he's an angel.
From heaven?
That I'm not so sure about.
An angel. It's too bad. He's such a nice fellow.
He's brought nothing but disaster to me.
Oh, that's absurd. He and Julia were here the other day. She seemed happier than she'd been in years.
He's made her despise me.
Are you sure?
That's why I've come to see you. Do you think it's all my own fault, Professor? Oh, you don't have to answer. I asked for this in more ways than one. I suppose that Dudley came to me just to confirm that I had already lost Julia's love.
Well, if there's anything I can do, Henry...
No, there's nothing anyone can do.
Yeah, but there must be. You and Julia love each other. You always have.
It's only partly true. I love Julia.
Well, then why don't you fight for her?
Fight? How can I fight against...
But you have a tremendous advantage over him.
Advantage over an angel?
Precisely. He is an angel. Julia's a creature of earth. She's a woman, Henry, and you're a man.
Yes. Yes, I am.
Yeah, and if I were you, I'd get myself home. And...
Home? That's where he'll be, waiting for Julia. Excuse me. Happy Christmas.
Henry, is that you, dear?
Hello, Julia.
Dudley.
I came to say goodbye. I have to be moving along.
Oh. Well, where will you be going?
Wherever they send me.
They?
My superior officers.
Will we ever see you again?
Well, they seldom send us twice to the same place, Julia. We might form attachments.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, of course not. Julia, I don't want to leave.
Why?
Well, there are few people who know the secret of making heaven here on earth. And you are one of those rare people.
You frighten me. Dudley, I think you ought to go.
Julia, please, don't send me away.
What are you saying?
That I'm tired of being a wanderer. I'm tired of an existence which is neither hot nor cold, hungry nor full.
No, you must go away. And never come back. Don't look at me like that. Dudley, no. Henry!
All right, Julia. It's all right, my darling. Go upstairs, dear. I'll handle this alone. As for you, Dudley, I have never before had to fight an angel. But I suggest you take off your coat and put up your dukes.
Now, why do you want to fight me, Henry?
Because you're a thief trying to steal the love that belongs to me.
Henry, do you realize that as an angel, I could quite possibly destroy you with a bolt of lightning?
I don't care. Julia means more to me than my life. I'm not going to lose her.
Then I have news for you. I'm going.
I'll accept that as a fact when I see it happen.
Oh, no, you won't. Because when I'm gone, you will never know that an angel visited this house.
And Julia? What about her?
There will be no memory with her either. Or with Debbie or the professor or anyone else.
Oh, I don't trust you.
You may, Henry, because your prayer's been answered.
That's not true. I prayed for a cathedral.
No, Henry. You prayed for guidance. And that's been given to you. I'm being paged.
Just a minute, please.
Goodbye, Henry.
If we should need you again, will you come back?
Not I. I'm requesting an assignment at the other end of the universe.
Is that because I was so difficult?
Oh, no. This difficulty was in me. When an immortal finds himself envying the mortal trusted to his care, it's a definite signal of danger.
Yes, I heard you the first time.
Now go upstairs. Take her in your arms, Henry. And kiss her for me. You lucky Henry.
Julia!
Quiet, darling. You'll wake Debbie.
Are you all right?
Oh, yes, of course I am. Henry, did you get that for Debbie?
Get what for Debbie?
That little angel there on a bed.
Why, no.
I can't imagine where it came from. Henry, what is it?
I don't know. I have the most inexplicable feeling of happiness.
Why, so do I.
Oh, Julia, I love you, Julia.
I love you, Henry. Listen, the bells from St. Timothy's.
It's almost midnight.
You'll have to hurry.
Oh, my sermon. It was all about the cathedral. It will never do now.
Don't worry, dear. You'll think of something. Something even better. Merry Christmas, Henry.
Merry Christmas, darling. Tell you the story of an empty stocking. Once upon a midnight clear, there was a child's cry. A blazing star hung over a stable, and wise men came with birthday gifts. We have forgotten many things through the centuries, but not that night. We celebrated with stars on Christmas trees, with the sound of bells, and with gifts, but especially with gifts. You give me a book, I give you a tie. Aunt Martha has always wanted an orange squeezer, and Uncle Harry could do with a new pipe. Oh, we forget nobody. Adult or child, all the stockings are filled. All that is, except one. And we have even forgotten to hang it up. The stocking for the child born in a manger. It is his birthday we're celebrating. Don't let us ever forget that. Let us ask ourselves what he would wish for most, and then let each put in his share. Loving kindness, warm hearts, and a stretched out hand of tolerance.
All the shining gifts to make a peace on earth.
Traditionally, this is the time for an old American custom, going home for Christmas. It's a time of joyful reunion, a time to strengthen the ties that bind each family together. And in the family is our only hope for the future. For from deep in our hearts and our homes must come the fulfillment of the age-old promise of Christmas, the promise of peace on earth and goodwill among men, all men. On On behalf of Lever Brothers Company and of us in the Lux Radio Theater, may I wish all of you the happiest of holidays.
The Adventures of the Saint, starring Vincent Price. The Saint, based on characters created by Leslie Charteris and known to millions from books, magazines, and motion pictures. The Robin Hood of modern crime now comes transcribed to radio, starring Hollywood's brilliant and talented actor Vincent Price as the Saint.
Come in.
Hi, Mr. Temple.
Oh, hello, Louie.
Where are you?
I'm in my room. I'll be ready in a minute.
Hey, wait till you see my cat. I gave it a bath for Christmas.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah. Look, I don't want to rush you, but if you don't hurry, Christmas Eve is going to be already Christmas morning, and what'll all them tots think?
Oh, them tots will be singularly fortunate. However, all I have to do now is get my whiskers on. There. How do I look?
Mr. Templar, if I didn't know you was Mr. Templar,
yeah,
I wouldn't know who you were.
Louis, don't I look like Santa Claus?
This may come as a surprise to you, Mr. Templar. Santa Claus is fat.
Oh.
You're not fat.
Oh. Well, hand me that cushion from the couch, huh?
Okay. Here.
Thank you. Now then. How's that?
Now say ho, ho, ho.
What for?
Santa Clauses always say ho, ho, ho.
Oh, I see. Ho, ho, ho.
Well, anyway, you look like Santa Claus. Hey, Mr. Templar, whose idea was this?
Mrs. Winterbottom's.
Oh, the dame who annoys tots on Christmas Eve.
Mrs. Winterbottom is a very well-known philanthropist, and every Christmas Eve she collects hundreds of small children and feeds them.
Yeah. Who feeds them the rest of the year?
Don't be bitter, Louis.
Sorry.
At least I ought to give the little tots a laugh.
Yeah. And I suppose there is something to be said for Mrs. Winterbottom.
Don't say it now.
Don't worry.
There's something to be said for Santa Claus, too. He does go around filling stockings.
Yeah, I know, a blonde. Shouldn't say that either, huh?
No. Someone at the door. Louis, would you mind?
No. It's probably one of them tots. Correction. It's a tot 20 years later.
Get in.
I'm already in.
Back up.
I'm backing up.
Thanks. Now, reach, gents.
Hey, you know, that gun in her hand looks loaded.
Now that you mention
Reach.
For what?
The chandelier.
You can't.
Why not?
No chandelier.
Oh, a wise guy, huh?
If you're going to shoot me, I insist on knowing your name.
Just call me Sally.
Sally. And your last name?
Never mind that. How would you like to get plugged in the...
Breadbasket?
Where?
Oh, let's pass lightly over that. I wouldn't like to get plugged anywhere.
And shut up.
All right.
Where is it?
Right down the hall.
Are you trying to be smart?
Not especially.
So it's going to be like that, huh?
Like what?
Now, you listen to me, Fats Boylan.
Huh?
You shut up, too.
I didn't say anything.
Well, shut up anyway.
I'm shutting up.
What was I saying?
You just finished calling me Fats Boylan.
That's right.
That's wrong. I'm not Fats Boylan.
Ha.
Well, it helps keep the conversation
Look,
going.
Fats, are you going to stop stalling and hand over the stuff, or will I have to shoot?
Since I am not Fats Boylan, and since I have no stuff to hand over, I'm afraid you'll have to shoot.
Mr. Templar, that could be fatal.
You keep quiet, punk.
Who's a punk?
You're a punk.
Mr. Templar, am I a punk?
Well, Sally is just a little confused this evening, Louis.
Confused or not, she shouldn't call me a...
Shut up. Oh.
You don't have to start bawling.
I am not bawling. I
You were just about to shoot me.
Well, I know, but then you'd bleed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I can't stand the sight of blood.
Why don't you strangle him?
Louis, don't be unkind. It seems to be the doorbell again.
No, wait.
Oh, it's very impolite to keep people waiting.
But I must have been followed here.
Sally, look, stop illustrating a point with that gun. It might go off.
I don't care.
But then I'd bleed.
But where can I go? I've got to hide.
Well, try the kitchen.
All right.
Oh, come on in. It's open house tonight.
Well, my old pal, Fats
I am not.
Boylan.
although I'm beginning to waver. Perhaps I am. Simon, the split personality. Who are you?
Well, Joe Hudson. You remember your old pal, Hudson?
Hudson. Well, I must admit you look like a hornet, but your lines aren't as nice. Look, if I'm your old pal, why don't I know you?
Oh, that's easy. We never met personally.
Well, how else can you meet? Ignore that. But if we haven't met personally or otherwise, how can I be your pal?
Oh, I was just being friendly. Besides, hey, you got something for me.
I have?
Great little kidder, ain't you, Fats? Ain't he, pal?
Now I feel better. I'm a pal, too.
Look, I wish I deserved your delighted choice.
Look, just leave me have the stuff, and then I'll get...
Stuff again. What stuff?
Am I going to have trouble with you?
The door behind you is open. Why don't you use it, huh? In that way, nobody will have any trouble.
I'll use it after.
After what?
Such like that, huh? Ever see one of these before?
I'm afraid I'm going to disappoint you, but the answer is yes, I have.
Good. And you know how it works. It shoots bullets at guys. Guys who get bullet shot at them have a habit of dying.
Really? Well, then perhaps you'd better not shoot that gun at me.
I won't. So gimme.
So I ain't got. Well, that is I.
That is, you ain't got.
Thanks, Louis.
Basic, I ain't a patient man. Hand the stuff over, or
I don't have any stuff.
Or you get shot.
I'd bleed.
Who cares?
I do. I hoped you might. However...
This could be a stall. This could be trouble, so you...
You can't shoot him.
Why not?
It's against the law. I read it in the papers. It's against the law?
Yeah, I believe you.
Oh, well, so that's okay.
Yeah, but I like doing things against the law.
Oh, well, you could go to jail.
I already been there.
Well, for shooting somebody, they'll hang you or something.
If somebody told them.
Well, I would.
You would, huh?
I would.
So maybe I'd better shoot you first.
Well, I wouldn't want to deprive Mr. Templar of the privilege.
Well, Fats, it's your last chance.
Oh, not that phrase. Also, I still don't know...
So it looks like I'm going to break a law. Hey, who did that?
You did, you dope.
I did not. This here's a plan. But you won't get away with it.
Goodbye, Mr. Hudson.
Mr. Templar, who made with the artillery?
It must have been Sally. She's in the kitchen.
She can stay there.
She saved our lives, Louis.
Yeah, but maybe by now she's found out she likes to shoot guns.
Let's hope not.
Hello.
It was nice of you to frighten Mr. Hudson off.
I did?
You did.
I didn't hit anybody?
No.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Hey, I've got her.
She's out cold.
Come on, up. Put her on the couch. Come on.
It's a little late, but somebody ought to mention she is not a bad-looking dish.
You've mentioned it.
Looking for smelling salts in her bag?
No. Identification. Here's a driver's license. Her name is Sally Walters. Address 49 Arden Drive. Social Security card. She's the secretary.
That's what I need. Take it back.
She's coming, too. Better put the bag back.
Yeah, but keep the gun, though. There's still some bullets in it.
No. We don't want her to know we went through her bag.
We're ashamed of ourselves?
We're going to pay her a visit.
She ain't home.
But she will be after she leaves here, and then perhaps we can find out what keeps the home fires burning.
Sally was in kind of a hurry leaving us.
So she was.
Mr. Templar, don't look right, Santa Claus chasing a blonde.
I'm not chasing her.
Technicalities will get you no place. Hey, this must be it. 49. What is she a secretary of? The Treasury?
I suspect this is where she works, Louis.
She works overtime, huh?
Yeah, and probably sleeps in. Come on.
Yeah. I hope that nobody is peeking because they'll think Santa Claus is off schedule.
I think perhaps I can manage without the whiskers.
Yeah.
Ouch!
Now you look like an imposter.
Yeah. Will you ring, Louis?
Okay. You know, this is the type house I got a feeling Santa Claus would have to use the servants' entrance.
Yes.
I'm Simon Templar.
You are?
I am.
There's nothing I can do about it.
Mr. Templar, all butlers are like him?
I doubt it. I think he's been practicing.
Haw. Well, good night, then.
I think not.
Would you mind removing your shoe from the door?
I would.
You might at least have shined it.
Humphrey, whoever is it at this time of night?
No one, madam.
Oh, but such an interesting-looking no one. Santa Claus, you've lost your whiskers.
I haven't. They're right here in my pocket.
How nice.
Actually, my name is Simon Templar.
I'm Carla Worth.
This is Louis.
Hi. Oh, I mean...
Hi.
Be kind to the peasants type.
Did you want to see me?
Now that I've seen you, yes.
Well, come in then.
Thank you.
But, madam...
Humphrey, go away.
Yes, madam.
Humphrey's such a problem sometimes. Shall we? Nice?
Yeah. Fire in the fireplace, books on the bookshelves, port in that decanter.
Yes, would you like some?
No, thank you. I just wanted to be sure the accessories were all correct. Someday, maybe I'll find some other wine besides port in the decanter. I dream.
Simon, are you the one who found them?
It's beginning again.
Found what?
My jewels, of course.
Have they been lost?
Simon, they were stolen. You know that, don't you?
Should I?
I've heard of the saint, Simon. I didn't know he was also a Santa Claus.
Oh, it's a fleeting impulse. When were your jewels stolen?
This afternoon. You see, Claude, my husband, that is, bought me them for Christmas.
Santa Claus.
Louis.
Sorry.
We decided to have the party this afternoon. We thought it'd be nice to have a quiet eve, so we did. The jewels were in quite a large box. There were quite a lot of them.
And?
Claude had hired a Santa Claus, but before the party was over, Santa Claus had disappeared. So had the jewels.
Well, there must have been some precautions.
Oh, there were several detectives. But the Santa Claus said he was going out to get some air while the party was on. He never came back. But he didn't have the jewels on him. The box was locked, and it was too large for the detectives not to have noticed.
I see. The name of the man hired to play Santa Claus was, of course,
Fats Boylan. And who may you be?
Claude, this is Simon Templar. And Louis.
I know neither of them. Snoops, obviously. Get rid of them.
Claude likes to behave as though he were an emperor on occasion.
The box wasn't found anywhere in the house?
The jewel box, no.
The jewels were insured?
Naturally. It's none of your affair. I shall speak severely to Humphrey. He should never have let you in.
I let them in, darling.
So now he's going to speak severely to her.
We'll go quietly, except... Mr. Worth, what is Fats Boylan's address?
I have no idea. Good night.
Good night, Simon, and I'm sorry.
So am I.
I'll show you out.
Thank you.
Wow, 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 wow.
Pronounced Carla Worth.
Yeah. What do we do now, Santa Claus?
We get into your nice, clean cab and... Hey, wait a minute, Louis. Now we're going to find out what became of Sally.
Simon.
Well, good evening, Sally.
I overheard. Fat's address is 17 Beale Street.
17 Beale.
Yes, I've got to get right back to the house before anybody notices. Goodbye.
An awful short visit.
But long enough.
Now we're going to visit Mr. Boylan?
I think so.
I hope he ain't so handy with a gun as the rest of these characters.
He may be, he may not be.
Now I'm all cheered up.
But there's one thing I'm sure he isn't.
What's that?
Fat.
Quite a change from the Waits dump. Now this is a dump.
Yeah, and Mr. Boylan would seem to be shy.
Mr. Templar, you said something about the one thing he wouldn't be was fat. Why, because he was called Fats?
Not exactly. Louis, I'm worried.
Hey, the door was open.
Yes.
Maybe that means our bird has flown?
Maybe. Come on, let's go in.
Okay. I ain't usually so poetical, but the light's on.
Yes.
And the room looks funny. Looks like a hurricane came to stay for dinner.
And remained for 6 months.
Somebody was looking for a jewel box?
And someone obviously didn't find it. The extent of the search indicates that. Nothing was left untouched.
It's a funny smell in this room, you know. A couple of funny smells.
Yeah. One's perfume and the other...
Gunpowder. Huh?
Gunpowder.
That's why I ain't been looking behind any pieces of furniture.
It really wasn't very far to look, Louis.
Huh?
He's behind the daybed.
Fats?
Fats, Louis.
He ain't doing so good?
He's dead. And Louis...
Yeah?
He wasn't fat.
Mr. Templar?
Yes, Louis?
We're being followed. Since we got out of Boylan's place.
That's interesting. Louis, stop the cab.
That'll make it easier for whoever's following us.
Exactly what I want.
Even on Christmas Eve, this shouldn't happen. Now what?
We get out. Don't look behind you. Start walking.
Here is a nice, lonely street.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else is home hanging up stockings. I wouldn't mind hanging up stockings myself. Who do you think it is?
I think it's our friend Hudson.
Oh, I just lost 5 pounds. You mean the guy that was chasing Sally, who was all ready to shoot us until she made the explosion?
Neat reminder.
Oh, you think he wants our money or our life?
Possibly.
What kind of an answer is that?
In here, quickly.
Here. Mr. Temple, this here alley is full of garbage cans.
It's also dark.
You don't have to see garbage cans to know they're around. Hudson?
Yes. Good evening, Hudson.
What?
Don't turn around. I've got a gun on you.
Hey, I don't like it.
Louis, take Mr. Hudson's gun away from him.
Okay. I got it, Mr. Templar.
Good. Aim it at him.
Hey, now, wait a minute. You can't shoot me with my own gun.
Why not?
That ain't tactful.
What other gun could I shoot you with?
Your own. Hey, you mean you ain't got a... Oh, mister, you are a liar.
And on Christmas Eve, too. Hudson, who hired you to follow Sally and me?
It was my own idea.
Louis, Mr. Hudson isn't being friendly.
He ain't, huh?
He ain't. Therefore...
Hey, now, don't lose your heads, fellas.
We've lost patience with him, Louis.
We have?
Shoot him, Louis. He's beginning to bore me.
He's beginning to... I should shoot him?
Yes.
Fatal?
Fatal.
Okay. Except I don't know what my wife and 6 kids are going to say.
You haven't got a wife and 6 kids.
Now, wait a minute, please.
Louis, we're being cruel, prolonging Mr. Hudson's agony. Put him out of it.
Now, wait a minute.
Who hired you?
Mrs. Worth. Mrs. Carla Worth.
You quite sure?
Strike me dead. That is, don't strike me dead. Look, if she didn't, why would I say she did?
You have a point there. But why should she have wanted you to follow Sally?
Well, she had an idea. Her husband and Sally were kind of,
decorating their own little tree together.
I couldn't put it more tactful.
I see. So if you got enough divorce evidence, Mrs. Worth could hold up her husband for plenty of alimony.
No.
No,
Mrs. Worth is the babe with the dough. Mr. Worth is a very well-educated bum.
Indeed. Huh? It's interesting. Louis, let me have the gun.
Yeah, here.
Wait, I just told you the truth.
I'm sure you did.
Mr. Templar, that's gratitude?
It's necessity.
Oh.
We need him out of the way for a little while. He's out of the way. Now,
Yeah?
Now we're going to find out who else knew that Fats Boylan was thin.
You know, if we visited often enough, I might even get accustomed to this joint.
You might also start confusing yourself with Grant. Good evening, Humphrey.
I'm sorry the family retired for the night.
Well, it is late, I know.
I wish to retire myself.
Why, Humphrey, you don't look 65.
Good night, sir.
Aren't you going to ask us in?
No.
Why, Humphrey, I thought you and I were going to sing Christmas carols together.
Let go of me.
Shut the door, Louis.
Okay.
I shall complain.
All right, but not now.
Mr. Templar, I'm going to wear that gun out, hitting people over the head with it.
And I couldn't have him warn anyone we're here.
Why, we're going to burgle the joint?
In a way.
Huh?
And a kinder description would be search the place, Louis.
Oh, for what?
Oddly enough, something that can't be seen or touched.
Sounds like a ghost.
Yes, and in a way it is. The ghost of a murderer.
It's the night before Christmas, all right, but a creature is stirring. A couple of creatures, us.
Yeah, we've covered all the rooms on the other landing. Therefore, the bedroom should be here. And therefore, this should be someone's bedroom. Let's go in.
We're sleeping?
Now, if I can open the door softly enough and look in. Moonlight through the window. Yes. The dressing room. Door beyond would be the bedroom proper.
Proper is not a word we're in any position to throw around.
We'll have to go in to the dressing room. Come on, Louis.
Okay.
Wait a minute, Louis. Inhale.
Mr. Temple. Temple, I don't usually take breathing exercises in the middle of the night.
Louis.
All right. I'm inhaling.
Well?
Perfume.
Mm-hmm. Familiar?
I could learn to love it, but no.
Well, then out we go.
You didn't care for that perfume.
It didn't tell me anything.
What do you want perfume should tell you?
Who killed Fats Boylan?
Another bedroom. We go in?
Naturally.
For a bachelor, that ain't the word you should have used. I'm beginning to get worried about this. Supposing somebody screamed.
Pull yourself together, Louis.
Okay. After all, like the poet says, strong heart never won fair maiden.
You mean faint heart.
All right, so for dinner I'll eat dog food.
Now. Another dressing room. Well?
Hey, Mr. Templar.
Yes. The same perfume we noticed.
Uh-oh. Don't be frightened.
Why, Simon, what are you doing in here?
Louis and I have been testing perfumes.
It's the middle of the night. You awakened me.
I'm sorry. I'm even sorrier about something else.
What's that?
The perfume you use is very distinctive, Sally.
I supposed to say thanks?
No. Because the last place Louis and I noticed it was in Fats Boylan's room. Minutes after he'd been killed.
Oh.
Not good, Sally.
You're making all this up.
No. This bottle of perfume will be evidence.
But I didn't kill Boylan. You must be joking about that.
I don't think a jury would find it funny. You knew about Boylan stealing the jewels. You must have helped him.
I didn't.
But then you found yourself being trailed by Hudson, who'd been hired by Mrs. Worth. You were afraid he'd discover the connection between you and Boylan. That's why you came to my apartment.
No.
Oh, yes. You hoped I'd throw Hudson off, perhaps frighten him. In the meanwhile, you could get to Boylan, get the jewels from him.
That isn't true.
But when you got to Boylan's place, you found him already dead, and the jewels gone.
I didn't.
It would be much better for you that way.
What do you mean?
You wouldn't be liable to a first-degree murder charge.
But there were detectives here while the party was going on. Boylan couldn't have stolen the jewels. They saw him leave. He didn't have them.
He did have them. He was playing Santa Claus, and he was a thin man. Santa Clauses, as Louis pointed out to me earlier tonight, are fat. Therefore, Boylan entered this house wearing padding underneath his costume. He left it with a large jewel box in place of the padding. That's how he did it, Sally.
You're smart.
You found Boylan. You knew his address. Therefore, you'd hired him in the first place. And therefore, also, a jury would believe you'd killed him unless you tell us who did.
Well, all right. I'll tell you.
There's really no need, my dear.
Oh, Claude.
Hey, Mr. Templar, tell him to point the gun someplace else.
Mr. Worth, point that gun someplace else.
I prefer this direction. You were saying, Mr. Templar, about the jewels?
The jewels were insured. Therefore, you, Mr. Worth, arranged to have them stolen.
Indeed.
Indeed. In that way, you could retain the jewels, the insurance money as well, and not worry very much whether or not your wife divorced you. Clever.
Boylan is dead.
How true. You had to see to that, didn't you? Otherwise, he might have blackmailed you for the rest of your life, or for whatever money you got out of the entire crooked deal.
I can see two other deaths. Yours, your friend.
And Sally? You going to kill her, too?
That depends, I should think, on Sally.
Claude, I never knew you intended to kill anyone.
There's no need to play the ingenue quite so strenuously, my dear. You were in on most of it.
But not murder.
I'm afraid Mr. Templar's pessimism is justified. I shall have to include you. But however did you get onto her, Templar?
Her perfume. To be precise, this perfume.
Well, you got him in the eye.
Yeah, I hope this gets him someplace more effective.
Mr. Templar, the trail of unconscious bodies you're leaving behind you tonight, if laid end to end,
yes, Louis,
would look terrible.
Simon.
Yes, Carla?
You've been very sweet. Even without your whiskers, you've been sort of a Santa Claus to me. May I?
Oh, with pleasure.
Well, I never knew Santa Claus could kiss like that.
Santa Claus is no saint.
Yes?
Oh. Hello, Louis.
Mr. Templar, you better put on your whiskers. You forgotten all about Mrs. Winterbottom?
Mrs. Oh, well, the hour is past midnight. The tots have undoubtedly tottered off to bed by now. Louis, you may tell Mrs. Winterbottom.
I know. That the saint ain't no Santa Claus.
You have been listening to another transcribed adventure of the Saint, the Robin Hood of modern crime. Now, here is our star, Vincent Price.
And may I wish you all a wonderful Christmas. And for the world, peace in all the years to come. This is Vincent Price inviting you to join us again next week at this same time for another exciting adventure of the Saint. Good night.
This adventure of the Saint was written by Louis Vittes. Our cast included Mary Shipp as Sally and Betty Lou Gerson as Carla. Hy Averback was Hudson, Ted Osborne, Claude. The butler, Stanley Farrar. Louis is played by Larry Dodkin. The Saint, based on characters created by Leslie Charteris, is a James L. Safier production and is directed by Helen Mack.